Yes, we are here live at CWL Paris on the analyst panel. We would have done the opening segment, but Jack's ego being what it was, he insisted on being first on camera. But don't worry, we're going to break down some of that game that just happened. Of course, I'm Bryce, I'll be hosting this for you. Joining me though, on here, it's going to be Momo and Campbell. Guys, first of all, how are you?
Very, very good. Happy to be here. It's my first ESWC, well, working anyway. Last time I was here, I was playing, didn't go too well. This time I can, sit back, relax, enjoy some Call of Duty. I think it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, you played it. In fact, it was this venue last time.
Yes, I played against Tommy, and obviously he was teamed with a French. It was horrific, it was horrifying, and I'm very glad I'm doing this right now rather than being on that stage.
Let's hope you're slightly better at this than you are playing. Campbell, how have you found this event so far?
Yeah, I think the event's been amazing so far. I mean, it's my first time doing an Activision event and my first time working alongside Bryce and Momo, so a lot of great games to come. We've just seen an incredibly exciting series there as well, and I can't wait to break it down.
It's okay. It'll probably be your last. All right, let's get into the game now and see what we actually thought of that one. So, interesting fact, we spoke to Zed coming up here, and I kind of handed the casters a piece of paper with his prediction on. He said 3-1 Fnatic, they're going to drop the uplink. So, it already seems from what he was saying that Fnatic have an uplink problem.
Yeah, for me as well, like he knows Fnatic in and out. He's played against them online, those 2Ks, he's seen what they've done at MLG as well. And Cloud9, they are a very kind of iffy team right now. They had a great Vegas, they've had a horrific Atlanta, and I just think it's going from bad to worse for them right now. It's not what they needed. We talked about it beforehand, and I think it's showing signs of life for Fnatic maybe.
I think it's the slaying power, really. You saw there, Scraps and Sunny B, they really are going off. Tommy was making a lot of clutch plays, maybe in that last hard point that we caught some of on the rotations. Waskin, to me, he's still warming up. He's very new to it. I don't expect a lot of it, to be perfectly honest with you. I know he's Scraps' twin brother, but he's still not Scraps, in my opinion. He's still not that same caliber of player. I'm interested to see how he develops, but I'm wondering, how long. Is it going to be he blossomed into the player Fnatic needs, or is it going to be a case of maybe he's come up too quickly?
I think he's been thrown in at the deep end, to say the least. He's teaming with 3 fantastic players, a huge organization, and he's done. He's not gradually done. For example, myself, I went to like 20 events, really low tier events, and then finally got a break.
Yeah.
He just straight bombed in at like a Gfinity. Then he went to MLG. It's like, this is what, his 3rd, 4th event, and he's sat here in front of all these fans. It's got to be nerve-wracking, but I think he's doing okay. And he did perform pretty well in that Search and Destroy, I have to say.
Yeah, there were signs of life. Campbell, let's talk a little bit about Cloud9 now, because for Cloud9, it's not been a great history. Now, they were 2nd in pro points in North America. They dropped to 7th after Atlanta. They've just started off Paris a week later by losing their first game in groups, and it should have been the easier game for them.
I mean, yeah, definitely, you're right. You take a look at Cloud9 versus Fnatic. I mean, they've got Elevate to come up. We know that that big rivalry there. That's especially a game that Cloud9 are going to be focusing on. I think losing to Fnatic now puts them in a really, really bad situation in this pool play, especially with our open bracket competition. There's so many good teams that could come out of open bracket that even the open bracket team that Cloud9 face later, they could lose as well. I mean, this is possibly a group, and I think, Bryce, that we could see Cloud9 even finishing 4th.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who comes into their group. I mean, here's the interesting thing for me. Now, we've all spoke about the rivalry, right, with Reedy and Aches. I think Reedy's kind of already bored of it. He's kind of moving on a little bit. But it surprised me that the rest of Elevate feel the same way about Cloud9. Not as a rivalry, but they just don't think they're very good. I mean, they kind of said, we think maybe, Lacefield and Assault are their 2 good players. Aches and Ricky, they don't really see it. They said, we're not worried.
The way I look at Cloud9 was, Ricky was like their S&D star.
Yeah.
Aches was their experience, that kind of hype man, the guy that can just kind of do anything.
Yeah.
And then, Lacefield and Assault were the ones to put up the big numbers. Their S&D's been okay. Ricky hasn't gone off. Aches, I think, has been a little bit slow in the respawns, to say the least. And I've not seen those big numbers from Acefield. Just combine them both, why not? I've not seen it. And that's where they're lacking. I think they do lack a lot of slaying power. They lack those kills.
Well, I mean, one of the main things that I was paying attention to in that first hard point was the sub v sub. I think it was Sunny B up against Ricky. And I mean, Sunny B just absolutely went off. Ricky struggled to slay out in that submachine gun battle. But one thing we always talk about, and it seems to be something the analysts pay attention to a lot, is the ERAD has now obviously made its way into the game, and which either, especially on a close map like Scorch, you need your submachine gun player to go off. And in that situation, Sonny B just absolutely slayed out. We heard him from here over on the stage getting really, really loud. And I think Aches has to get his team together now. They have to have a conversation about what's going on. Yeah, poor performance at MLG Atlanta, poor start here. It's not looking great for them. And I would not expect a player like Aches to get bad placings at 2 events in a row. It's just not something you hear of.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting to see more of Aches. Now, Aches, going back, it was actually in this venue, going back all the way, maybe 2 games ago. He was regarded by several players as one of the top 5 godlike players on this. And don't get me wrong, there have always been glimpses of Aches. Optic fans know that for a start. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, I just don't see it 100%. I don't see Aches that I know Aches.
I think it's the same kind of factor as we talk about Optic Gaming, and they've lost their fear factor. I think him as an individual, he's kind of lost that, fear factor of, I'm going up against Aches. He's won 17 events or whatever it may be, more by now. And I think they are lacking on something. I mean, that shows not only in their gameplay, but I don't know, you don't have that Aches roaring or just demolishing teams, in pool play or whatever it may be. So I honestly, I look at that team, I just don't know how they're going to fix it.
I'm curious to see, because if you're them, you're a little bit worried now. Because I think a lot of people agree that Elevate should take their game against them later. But also, I also want to point out, before we move on, because we will move on, Sonny B and Scraps in that game were dropping phenomenal numbers. Yeah. They didn't concentrate on the hill time, and there were issues with Fnatic. We saw it in that very first hard point, which some of you guys at home may not have seen. There were issues with some of their pinches, some of their tactics. We can see the reins of Tommy have been let slip a little few times. Like P3, their pinch was awful. It was so bad, we all saw it. So I'm curious, is it just the slaying power that's keeping them in contention right now? Is that tactic, that tune-up that we asked for from Fnatic, is it in yet?
I think one of the main things from the first hard point that we saw was, I was kind of saying to you, Bryce, we're talking about Tommy and Aches having a slow start, and we were talking about, he's the most successful pro player from the EU, and Aches is, obviously we all know, is massively successful as well. But the big thing that changed it for me was we saw Tommy start to get into the game. Tommy started picking up numbers, rotation started to come in. I mean, you could tell that Tommy really started calling out, getting the guys involved, and I think that's why they took the hard point so dominantly. But you're saying about Scraps and his slaying power, 13-3 in the search and destroy, and we saw that amazing camera play where he managed to pick up 3 kills from behind as well. One thing I'm paying attention to the most is the specialist used from Fnatic was way better than Cloud9's was. I think for about 2 rounds we saw one member of Cloud9, Ricky, have overdrive for 2 rounds and didn't use it at all. So I think perfect specialist use and fantastic slaying power from Scraps is the reason why they took that one.
All right, well, I'm going to put a fork in that one. It's done for now. Let's. We didn't get a chance to do this before the game. Like I said, Jack took over. Let's kind of go through some of the stories of this tournament. There is a lot going on here. There are titans in the open bracket. There's a few pool play games going on. Momo, let's kind of start with you. What are your highlights that we're expecting to see over the weekend?
For me, this is almost like a last chance to kind of see how your team's doing. And, we're getting up to that stage where, the LAN league's coming in. I'm looking at E United.
Okay.
They're in open bracket, and they just won the last event. They didn't just win it, they took down Optic in their kind of crazy loser bracket run.
Envy are in that bracket as well.
Envy are down there. We've got Luminosity as well. We've got so many. Jack listed them off, but it's, we've got, of course, the pool plays where you've got the likes of FaZe, but for me, the real storyline behind, this event in particular is we've got a European event with so high talent, if you like. Just kind of the talent across the board is just incredible. And we're going to see
the Americans have invaded.
Yeah, they're taking over. And
was it minimum of 22 teams, American teams that turned up?
I think it was 20 plus when I last saw it. And I think it's very scary for those normal, amateur open bracket teams in Europe. I saw games going on, like, we're talking 250 to like 30 points out there. They are destroying.
If you're an amateur team, you've turned up into a European event, and okay, there's Envy sitting across from us in the open bracket. That's not fun. That's not great. That's not great. That's something like we would see you do, Momo, 250 to 6. You did that in this venue.
Yeah, I did. Okay, we'll leave that one. But, I honestly think, like, on a serious note, you're sat there as an amateur player and just over there, it's like, hang on a second, it's world champion apathy. Just sat there, just playing it. It's like, that's got to come into it a little bit. You've got to feel the pressure. You've not been on the main stage. It's difficult. It
Yeah,
really is.
you're seeing it like 20th in Europe. You're like, oh, okay, we play Envy. That's going to be so much fun. Moving on from that open bracket, then I kind of want to speak now about Optic. And the reason for that is I've been to every ESWC there's been a COD event at, and I have never seen Crimsix lose one.
Well, he's
Just
going for
hasn't
number
happened.
5.
He is going for number 5. Is it a reality? I think right now they may, because of United are coming in from the open bracket, they've come to Europe for the first time. Optic are going up there. We've got to be one of the favourites to win this event, if not the favourite.
I think my prediction for this tournament, the answer is Optic.
Okay.
But the one thing I will say is Optic has the experience. They've done this so many times. They've come over. A lot of the North American teams as well. You know, they've got to fight through that open bracket. We saw it take its toll on Optic in Atlanta, and I think I worry for the teams like United. I do worry because yes, they're fantastic, but they have to play game after game after game, get into pool play, fight through pool play, go on to Saturday, Sunday. There's so much Call of Duty to be played. But Optic, I think they're out for revenge as well. They need to bounce back.
100%. I think one of the things that I don't want to understate, but it's also not, like, it's a really nitpicky thing, right? Some Americans, when they do come over here, do struggle with sleeping. We know Maven has major issues with it. Every single European event, he looks like death.
Not this event. He was out like a baby last night. I think he's got 12 hours. He's good.
Apart from he's got a bleeding head where he hit himself. But yeah, for me, I'm kind of curious. There are a lot of Americans who've never been over to a European event. They've never had to kind of deal with being out of their comfort zone. It's a long flight. They haven't probably haven't had that much practice from Atlanta. I know Felony earlier said I haven't played since Atlanta. Hasn't played at all.
I think with Atlanta being so close, this is the real, especially with the flights being so far apart. You know, it's not like another European event. It's difficult. Like, what have I done since Atlanta? I got home, unpacked.
So you were home Wednesday and come straight to Paris?
Yeah, washed, dry. I just packed again. I had no time to do anything else. Spoke to Zed actually as well. He kind of said, all I've done is play some pubs. I've played a lot of pubs. I've kept my shop warm, and he's going into this one. And for me, that's all you kind of can do. You've got to, I think the biggest point between then and now is talking to your team. Go over it, watch a few VODs.
I think in terms of Optic, though, one thing that I really pay attention to, and from previous ESWCs, is we always talk about how it's such a fantastic crowd here at ESWC, and I think one main thing from Optic, you take a look at Scump, he feeds so well off the hype of the crowd. I think if the crowd does get behind Optic gaming like they have at the previous ESWCs, we're going to see Optic thrive on that. I mean, especially when you're tired and everything, you need that energy to get you into the game. Like, it was only a week ago they were at Atlanta. If you get that crowd hype from the fans, I think Optic will have a great weekend. But I mean, just so I'm throwing it out there, my team, I think, will take this tournament is Envy.
Okay, you're predicting Envy come all the way through the open bracket, smash their way in a pool play, and take the event. Interesting, and I think so. Optic versus Envy. Maybe that'll be the grand final. We don't know. However, what we do know is we're going to go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, Game 2 here, ESWC CWL Paris. Hello! Welcome back to the Call of Duty World League.
It's loud to the venue.
Welcome back to the Call of Duty World League. If you didn't guess by the bumper, this is the Call of Duty World League. We are live, of course, CWL Paris here at ESWC, about to go into Game 2. It will be Red Reserve versus Team 3G. Joining me this time, though, I'm going to do this in French, Philippe and Jacques. How are you doing? Bonjour. You've been really annoying talking French to people.
Okay. Can we quickly touch on this as we get ready to go in the 6th series? I'm in France, and I'm trying my best to speak French. Where's the issue there?
Can I ask what you've learned, and can you give me a demonstration?
Bonjour. Je m'appelle Jacques. Comment ça va?
He's nailed it.
No, I don't have an issue with you trying to speak French. I have an issue with you badgering the hotel staff as we walk through the hotel, asking him what all the signs mean.
Where's the issue? I'm an American trying to learn.
I have to be seen with you. That's the issue.
Would you rather me walk around and go, "What's up, y'all?" Try to speak with a southern...
You do that as well.
Right.
It's not like I have a choice between the two. It's loud American Jack and then pestering Jack.
Less of Jack speaking French.
Okay, let's move on to this game now. Red Reserve, formerly
Can't win.
Orbit.
Yes.
Same organization, different name. There's a whole branding, parent company thing. Now, the issue with Orbit coming into this event is they really underperformed in Atlanta. They
Yes.
did not look like the number one team in Europe. They actually dropped in pro points to second now as well. 3G, though, surpassed expectations not only at Gfinity, but they also did fairly with, not great, but okay at Atlanta.
3G were the team that beat Red Reserve to start off that CWL London event. Then they have some big upsets going into Atlanta. Now looking to keep that going here. This is typically one where you'd expect the team in Red Reserve, who's arguably the best team in Europe, to take this one with ease. But Red Reserve just have 3G just have their number. 3G have always, for some reason, stacked up well against a squad. They line up well. You can't count them out at all in this one.
For me, I think 3G, I constantly underestimated them
Yeah.
as players, as individuals, as a team. And, you know, again, we talked about Fnatic, just to go back to it. It's a huge organization. These guys don't even have one.
How do 3G, right, so I think the issue with 3G is, and we said this, is that you put it perfectly, we underestimate them. I'm still underestimating them. I'm still thinking they're going, their names aren't massive, you know, Quicker Than You's the biggest name in that squad, and he's okay. He's not.
He's okay.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
It was just funny the way he said that. He's okay,
He's okay.
at best.
He's not what you would put in the top 5 players in
definitely,
Europe.
Definitely.
Top 10, you'd be hesitant.
Yes.
Like, he's good. He's good. Don't get me wrong. Shay is good. He's not great,
Let me put it this way, right?
but he's performing fantastically.
You have someone like Tommy in charge
Yeah.
of this 3G squad. They're probably the Fnatic team. But you put Tommy now with the other players that he's with, and that's now the team for Fnatic. People are wondering, when does 3G finally wind up having an organization that backs them? And again, as we move closer to this league, as they fight for that probably, 6th spot that they're in the running for, alongside Fnatic, that's where you see this team get their big payday. That's where you see the org come in. They're still fighting for that, and winning series like this is a big reason why they get that.
Yeah, for me, that's the storyline behind 3G right now. They are fighting for that last spot in that LAN league for the European side of things. You know, they're going toe-to-toe with Fnatic. What have Fnatic just done? They've taken down Cloud9. Yes, Cloud9 are a little bit shaky right now, but I think 3G, you know, they can, again, over-impress. They can really kind of bring it this event. And if they do, I'm going to start taking them a lot more seriously. But from their playstyle at Atlanta, from their playstyle at Gfinity, I think this game is going to be closer than a lot of people think.
I think 3G are an interesting team. For me, it's just kind of crazy because you still, even now, I'm going Red Reserve should win this, even though I know 3G keep beating teams that we say this about. So I think the only issue with 3G, and I'm sure you guys agree, is consistency. They'll beat Orbit and then lose to some lower ranked team. It's just, we need to see them do it consistently to really put them up there.
It's what we always talked about with squads. There are certain teams that for some reason just play up. When they're facing a squad that you'd consider better, they play up to them and face them in a great match. When they face a squad that you expect them to be, it's like they let their foot off the gas pedal. They ease up and they wind up getting punished for it.
Yeah, I think so. All right, well, let's move on to Red Reserve then. Let's talk a little bit about them. It's Slash Orbit because of people. It's only been 4 days. Yep. Now, this team dramatically underperformed in Atlanta. Number 1 seed from Europe going in. Looked like they were top 8 at best.
I think they had a very rough weekend.
Yeah.
You know, to say the least, that's how it went for them. But I think they were in good positions that I think they let slip a few times, and they found themselves in this kind of lower bracket European stack side. And I was like, they should come out of this on top. You know, Splice, Elevate, I think were on the other side. You had Infused. I was like, Orbit / now Red Reserve. They looked the best team, and they started to kind of fall apart. And versus Infused at Atlanta, they just didn't seem there.
Yeah, and a big thing too to point out with that, I think people would argue that Orbit were potentially, or Red Reserve were arguably the most disappointing European team at Atlanta. This is a squad that not only wins a CWL London event, but beats Splice in an overall map count of like 9-3.
They beat them twice.
Yeah. So they destroyed that squad in maps at London. Now, what Red Reserve do we see? Are they back in form? What do they work on from this last event? There was very little time for them to practice, if any. So now a lot of it's going to come down to watching film, watching back their matches that were streamed, and learning from what they did wrong in the past.
I think realistically this is redemption for Red Reserve. They came off CWL London. We saw how confident they were at the end, and Raider was like, I'm not going to start drama. Probably a good thing now, looking back on it. He didn't say anything going into Atlanta. Yeah. But I spoke to Zero this morning. Zero said, you know, this is a good chance for us to kind of redeem ourselves. He goes, we didn't play well. He said, none of us played well. It wasn't good from us.
It just didn't seem to be clicking, but I think the guys, I know it's a bit cliche, but I think they say, new organization, they got new clothes on, different branding. Let's go into this one fresh, let's make up for Atlanta. And I think it has to be a bit of a clean slate for them, because the Atlanta performance, yes, wasn't the best, the placement wasn't great, and, I think a lot of teams and players will doubt them now. They're like, they were okay, but going into this, I think they'll have their doubters out there.
Okay, well, here's kind of a question based on... It's kind of a two-parter, right? Because this is the way I would split it down. This matchup, Red Reserve versus 3G, on paper, from CWL London, even though 3G beat that squad at CWL London, you would still say Red Reserve. After Atlanta, though, and a bad performance at Atlanta, and with 3G's history against this team, are we still going to call Red Reserve?
There is something with this Red Reserve team that has happened since prior to Champs. And I think a lot of it kind of rotates around Rated, where when I bet against Rated in my predictions, he just wins and destroys. When I say Red Reserve are going to win and Rated is going to win, he loses. I'm not kidding.
It's all on Jack.
I'm not kidding.
Jack's fault.
I don't know why this always happens, but as I start to bet for Red Reserve, they just always do terribly, and they did it against 3G. This time I'm going to pick 3G.
Okay.
I'm going to say 3G are going to win. I think that they've got their number. I think they stack up well, but knowing my history with Rated now, I said Rated wasn't going to get out of pools at Champs, and he got second.
Yeah, but I told you that was a bad call.
I'm looking at these two squads, and we've just told them how many times 3G have performed.
Yeah.
In my head, I still think Red Reserve. I can't get away
It's
from that.
hard to see past.
And
It is.
I think it's going to be closer, because you asked me going into Atlanta what these two teams kind of match up, or CWL London, I would have gone 3-0. Now I'm thinking 3-1. Maybe we see a fifth map, but I'm going to say Red Reserve take this in 4 maps.
I'm gonna wait for Maven to tell me that this next lobby is fine, ready. It's up to Maven.
Maven's
get us into the next
good.
game.
Maven's good. I think realistically for me, I'm going to say it's very much dependent on the first map. I think if it goes 1-0 3G, we're going all the way. I think if it's 1-0 Red Reserve, I actually think 3-0. For me, it's a benchmarking map. You have to benchmark the first hard point. Is this the Red Reserve from Atlanta, or is it CWL London? Is this 3G? In terms of playing Red Reserve, they're actually fairly consistent. I just don't know where to place both these teams right now.
I look at a lot of the online results as well, because CWL London, yes, Orbit Red Reserve, they won it, but they still lost to 3G. But I look at online, and I think, the 2Ks that have gone on behind the scenes, these guys have been topping it. Like 3G, they've been just breaking into the top 8. Every time they've never placed, I think Quicker told me they've never placed above top 8.
Yeah.
And I just think, how can they suddenly just perform on land? Crazy.
For me, it could be another story of 3G. They keep doing this. We'll do really well in groups and then just do nothing in the tournament. It could genuinely happen. That could be how it goes again. They could easily beat Red Reserve here and then be outplaced by Red Reserve again. It wouldn't even surprise me.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility. But I will say, I think Red Reserve will have learned.
Yeah.
I think they will have learned from their mistakes from Atlanta. They'll know how this team plays now, because 3G going into CWL London, they were a little bit, bit of a brand new team put together. I think they understand how they play and where they play now.
And the big thing, too, to point out with this again is the cutoff, the final opportunity to earn pro points for Stage 1 of the Global Pro League is the end of Dallas, and that is coming up much quicker than teams are, I think, realizing. Fnatic, a squad that needs every bit of pro points they can get, which pro points are on the line this weekend. You can earn yourself a lot if you wind up placing well. They beat Cloud9. 3G are another squad fighting for that 6th spot in Europe, where now they've got a match against Red Reserve, where they need to start off solid this weekend, get themselves in that winner's bracket, championship bracket with a top 2 pool placing. If they don't, this could very well be the deciding factor on a team making it into the top 6 and not.
You don't want to be a team waiting for Dallas to see whether or not you're going to make the league, especially if you're Red Reserve, because you're sitting there going, we won CWL London. How are we now struggling to get into the league? I think for me, yes, I think it's more 3G. I think realistically, Red Reserve should be okay. Like if they
did I not say 3G?
You said
sorry,
Orbit.
I'm definitely talking about 3G.
Oh, okay.
I think Red Reserve 100% making it.
You think they're 100% making it?
Yeah, I think they're clearing away. Even if they barely play, I think they still wind up making it. It's 3G that are fighting with the boys of Fnatic for that 6th spot. Sorry, I'm still jet lagged. I still have no idea what I'm
It's okay. All right, well, while we're waiting for this game to kind of get underway, what we're going to do now is kind of go through some more of the tournament. Jack, we didn't get your thoughts on, big storylines coming in this tournament. Who are you looking at? What's going on? Is one of them Rise?
Rise has to come to mind, strictly because in our little pregame show that Ten and I did, we talked about the biggest letdowns for North America and the EU. We touched on Orbit being probably one of the biggest letdowns in Europe, Cloud9 being one of the biggest letdowns in NA, Rise Nation being one of the biggest letdowns in North America as well. Do they bounce back this weekend? They have an opportunity to. It's dwelling on them. It's in their thoughts in that last series. They drop in the pro points race from that first seed. Now further down, things are starting to slip away a little bit. On the opposite side of that, Optic Gaming, they get that top 2 placing. Now, I'm also looking at them this weekend. They're going for Crim6, 4th in a row, ESWC?
Yeah.
5th?
Fifth in a row.
Fifth in a row, I believe. If after all that time, they now lose with this roster and it breaks their streak, that's got to play some mind games if I'm Optic Gaming as well.
I think it's interesting. That's not the only story about that this weekend. People are starting, and the rumors are starting at low level, admittedly. I'm not overplaying this, about Optic roster change. And the same thing with FaZe. 2 of the longest serving Call of Duty teams at the top level, both not exactly finding their form so far. It's been a long time for Optic, something they are definitely not used to. It's the rumblings are beginning. The rumblings of this are beginning. What if it happens again? What if they don't place well? What if they don't win? Now, Optic coming second, they're probably not too worried. Like I said, it's very, very, very low level for them. They are probably one of the favourites to win this event. I say maybe Envy and E United, but those 2 teams got to come through open. So Optic are in a fantastic position.
Well, one thing I do want to say is both of those teams, you expect them to wind up doing quite well, FaZe and Optic.
Yeah.
They do start in pools, which is solid for them to have. But now, moving forward with this one, I believe our next match is ready to go for the side of Maven as well as Campbell. So I'm sure we'll get over to them quite soon for this next series.
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. I'm looking at Maven to tell me. Are you good, Maven? He doesn't know. He has no idea.
I think Maven's good.
You think Maven's good?
I think Maven's
Are you just making that? You just want to go to Maven?
No, he actually waved at me, and you can't see him. He waved at me and said,
Maven
maybe
is saying he's maybe ready.
Okay. That sounds good to me.
Well, I'll tell you what we'll do is we'll ask Phil, shall we? Phil.
Maven is more than ready. He was born ready. He woke up ready. And
I thought you were going to ask
maybe
predictions.
just throwing him right under the bus here, but whether it's going to go to him or not, the one thing I will say before we go to him, I think Red Reserve could absolutely dominate this first map. I know it's a bit out of topic. I know we were just talking about Maven there, but I just want to say I have a feeling that Red will just come out here and storm this first map.
Okay, quickly before we do actually throw it over, one last question which I think is very interesting, because I think it's obvious at the top, but I want you to talk about the European teams. How do you rate them right now?
In order?
In order.
Whew, this is hard. I would say first.
Bearing in mind the pro points go Splice, Orbit, Infused, Elevate.
I'd say the pro points are a very good indication. I say Splice, Red, Infused, Elevate.
Are you put Infused above Elevate?
Yes.
I would put Infused above Elevate.
I put Infused above Elevate. And then I would say Fnatic 6th. I'm trying to think of who I forgot as 5th.
There's 3G, there's Imperial, there's Epsilon.
No, I'm thinking of a pool play team that I really can't think of. I really have no idea who it is. Whoever's in that top 6 I think it's the current
Supremacy are in there?
No, not Supremacy.
Not
I'll let
Supremacy.
Jack go and I'll have a
French
think
fans.
about it.
Sorry, French fans. No, I actually completely agree. I think the pro points race right now is a pretty good indication. I think, yes, you can still make the argument that Splice and Red are top 2, but I think Infused majorly raised their stock with that losers bracket run that they made. Yes, they falter a little bit in the beginning.
Infused is a big story right now in terms of Europe. I think P&E's been playing incredibly well. New Moose.
Moose is back and better than ever.
New Moose. I'm telling you, it's New Moose.
Bryce put a hashtag on it. He put
Hashtag
New Moose. And you know what? He played well at CWL London.
CWL London, he had ridiculous statistics.
But he performed at Atlanta as well. When I was watching him play,
did he do it again? Yes, he did. Is he going to do it a third time?
Third time's a charm. Maybe Infused just win this event because of Moose.
I think you've gone way, way past there now. We were talking about him being really good. You've gone, maybe they win the event. I'll be honest with you, I don't think so. top 4 would be a good result for
No,
Infused,
I don't think Infused win either. But I just imagine he wins
Where do you put them?
this weekend.
Yes.
Top 8. There's too much.
Top 8?
I think there's too much North American talent here.
There is a lot.
There's too much. I mean, when your open bracket has Envy, Luminosity, and United, we're not even considering them in pools. I mean, this is the best opportunity for an open bracket team to ever win an event in history of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I think so. We could be seeing that storyline here this weekend. One team we haven't touched on, because we literally just touched on every European team apart from the big one, Splice. What do we think of this team?
I think there's definitely something that isn't clicking. They are fantastic still. They're top on pro points. They're doing well. But I think they're just not the Splice or whatever that you want to call them kind of thing. Those 4 players, for me, should be number 1.
Yeah.
Individually should be number 1. Are they right now? Maybe, maybe not. But I think those 4 really, you look at them and you think, yeah, that's the top European
Do
squad.
you know what the biggest issue I think with Splice is right now? Is that we expect so much from them. They came second at CWO London. You know, they did well at Atlanta. They're not fantastic, but I think what everyone's looking at is when you put those names together, you're all going, yeah, they should be hitting top 6 every time without a trouble in the world. But they're struggling, and that's the issue. It's not that we don't think they're good. It's just that we have a few issues going, it might be okay.
Do Splice or Red Reserve look better after they swapped teammates after champs?
I don't think either of them look
I
better.
don't think either of them look better.
No.
I think you kind of made 2 very good
Somehow
teams.
Infused looks better.
2 very good teams, but I think they match up quite evenly against each other head to head. You know, you have those kind of direct head-to-head players. But with Red and Splice, I think really it does come down to kind of leadership in both of those squads. And I think, we've lost the likes of Swanee, we've lost the likes of Tommy in the top teams, like in Millennium, obviously last year. And, I think new players are coming up and taking that opportunity. But Splice and Red, I don't think any of them, like you said, I don't think any of them improve really from...
No, not really. All right, well, let's flip it over then, because this is an international event. Let's talk about the North American teams. Jack, you're the expert.
I am.
Tell us how you rate kind of the top teams at the moment.
United, I think, are the real deal. Do they win this weekend? I think they've got everything stacking up against them. Obviously, their first
If they
time
win this
traveling
weekend,
internationally.
it's huge.
Oh, absolutely. They are far and away the pro points leader right now. I believe up by like 30,000 plus over Optic, who's in second, which is a crazy spot to be in. To be completely transparent, they basically, in my opinion, secured their spot in the league, right, with that victory at Atlanta. Now, though, they have to keep the foot on the gas pedal. They need to keep improving. There's still a lot to learn for this lineup. And one of them is traveling internationally here, but then also fighting through the open bracket. Yes, Optic Gaming are right there. FaZe are right there in regards to skill. Envy, I think, looked great in Atlanta. I would put them in my top 3 right now. I would put my top 3 as United, Optic, Envy, FaZe,
Okay.
and LG with Saints.
That's another good point we didn't capture. Saints is not here. Is that going to really hurt
Pander.
them?
Pander is playing for him. So there's Panda, the team, and then Pander is playing for LG.
Right, okay.
It's confusing.
Yes, it definitely is confusing. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about FaZe. You know, they seem to be on the cusp again. They're a little bit... They're looking for a win. Again, it's the same thing. The rumblings are starting for them. You expect so much of FaZe. If they don't win or they don't come top 2 or even top 3, you're like, is that what we want from these guys? They've been together all the way from AW.
FaZe are closer to a roster change, in my opinion, than the
Oh,
likes of Optic
100%,
Gaming.
100%.
100%.
I think FaZe, they're well overdue an event win, a tournament win. They haven't won, obviously, for a while, but I do think as well, those 4 individuals, we expect so much of them. Again, huge organization, massive fan base, but I actually think they look really, really good in Atlanta. Their respawns were really good. Their Search and Destroy looked pretty stacked as well.
Their hard point was a little sluggish at times at Atlanta.
It was inconsistent.
It was
I would say.
inconsistent. I think the big thing, too, is FaZe won PSX, but they don't even count that.
Clay's
Their last
looking at
major
you.
win was 15 months ago. Who is? Clayster, you want to come join? Come on up, buddy.
It's just-
Just join us. We're waiting for Maven to say the next match is ready, but now Clayster's here. Clayster, defend yourself. Why were you guys so bad at hardpoint at Atlanta?
We weren't bad at hardpoint. You're just not a very good caster. You don't really watch too many games. So, what do you have to say about that, Jack?
What I'd say about that is that United won. Atlanta.
Did we not beat them in both hardpoints?
Did you beat them in your series?
Fair play. Fair play. Fair play.
All right, Clay, you've been to ESWC a fair few times now. You're returning here. I mean, you actually won. This was the venue you won in, right? It was ESWC, I think, 2014, I want to say.
So this is actually my 4th year out of 5 being here.
Yeah.
I was here for Black Ops 2. I wasn't here for Ghost.
Yeah,
I was here
Black Ops
for
2 was the
AW,
one you won, right?
Yeah, Black Ops 2 is the one I won. I got 2nd in the Advanced Warfare one. ESWC is always a good time. The fans, the crowd, everything here is usually a good time. I love the support that the French people show to us. I haven't really got a chance to explore this one too much with the Just Dance and the Clash Royale, but it's pretty lit in here when I walked in. There's people in the crowd getting into it, so I'm excited to see what this weekend holds.
How much practice have you got since Atlanta? It's what, been 4 days? I mean, you guys must have been on a plane for an entire day.
Yeah, we haven't had any practice. So last time we
Zero.
played was Sunday against Optic Gaming at MLG Atlanta. So, it's great to come into this really cold. I'm really excited to come in, not warmed up at all. We're going to have a great time with our first match.
Oh, okay, fantastic. What do you think went wrong for you then in Atlanta? What you must have, if you haven't practiced, you must have at least had a talk with your teammates and said, we need to tighten this up. What are we changing? It's definitely cozy on that sofa as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cozy over here. But two of my favorite people, I'd rather be in between no other people than these two guys right here. Playing footsies with me over here with Jack Dunlap is. We do it all the time under the table. Don't worry about it. But what went wrong for us was mainly just not executing. Not executing was it, man. We just got to execute and we'll win this event.
Clayster, thank you for joining us. I'm kicking you out because I think we're going to our series soon. Good luck, buddy.
I think we're ready, actually. All right.
I think we're going to throw it to them.
Yes, we certainly are. All right. Well, it is time to get this game underway. We've had a lot of fun over here, but over to Maven and Campbell.
All right, so let's have some fun. Campbell, this is my first time casting with you.
Yeah, it is.
How you doing?
I'm not bad.
This
How
is
are
going to be
you?
exciting stuff. This is your first kind of major LAN event, correct? Of this magnitude with a lot of the North American teams. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I mean, this is one of my actually favorite ones going into this one. I'm really hyped for this one. Red Reserve versus Team 3G. You got to look at Team 3G as a team that's just been surprising people every single event so far.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Red Reserve are that team that needs to come back onto that top position. We saw them at CWL London.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into the weekend still. So if any of you know me, I went to Stage 2 in Germany last year, London several years in a row, and I am horrendous when it comes to jet lag. Terrible. I'm not a very good traveler, but last night I did it. I stayed up throughout the day. I ended up getting like 12, 13 hours sleep last night. But then this morning, look at this. Can you see it? Look at my head. You see it? Look at that. I bashed my head on a lamp this morning. I got up in the dark and just headbutt a lamp. There was blood all over my head. It was
like a crime scene.
It was fantastic. But I'm excited to cast some Call of Duty. This has got to be the craziest open bracket we've ever seen with all the North American talent that came over. I think we have basically as many North American teams as European teams here this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what. We keep talking about the open bracket, don't we? How much competition is in there. And seeing the likes of E United and Envious in an open bracket at an event is just the craziest thing, especially obviously after E United winning the previous one. But in terms of the two teams we've got going up against each other, obviously Old Orbit, now Red Reserve, I have to ask you the question. I mean, who do you really think out of these two teams has that massive slaying ability and looks like they could take a hard point?
I mean, this certainly should be Red Reserve, but with how they played Atlanta, I don't exactly know what to expect. I had high hopes for them.
Yeah.
They were definitely one of my European teams I thought was going to squeak into the top 8. They weren't able to do that. And 3G continues to surprise people, but it looks like we are basically ready to go with the game here. I'm going to definitely start off watching Red Reserve as I got to think they're going to have a bounce-back weekend. If I pick my two most disappointing teams from Atlanta, I mean, it's Cloud9, Orbit at the time, Red Reserve, I think without question.
One of the interesting things as well I saw from the rig draft is we've seen two different specialists being used. So we've got FTL Jump being used on Red Reserve and Overdrive being used on Team 3G. I mean, I have to ask you the question really quickly, Maven. Which one do you prefer to see? Would you prefer to have FTL Jump or would you prefer to have the Overdrive?
I've become more of a proponent of the FTL jump. I mean, we haven't really seen any big plays with it. That's kind of why I have my eye on it, just to see what people can pull out. We saw Silly in North America get a pretty sick play in the 2K, but not a big sample size to really pull from, as it's just sort of being used with the Synaptic ban. But let's see off the break what we can get out of this Red Reserve side.
This one off 4-0. I mean, I want to go on board with him. He's now on a 5 streak. He's going to be making it close towards getting that.
We'll stick with him on respawn, though. Let's see what he can do.
Isn't going to be able to get it, though. Zero will shut him down as he comes through with his own 2-piece. But this one's going to be closely contested, I expect, Maven, in the middle of the hill. I expect the sub-players, though, once again, we saw in the Fnatic game, we saw Sunny B on this map do so well with the Erad, and that's why their team was able to take it. I don't know who the submachine gun players are on both of these two, but I expect to see the subs be a big impact in this one.
Yeah, that was actually what caught a lot of the North American teams off guard in Atlanta was the amount of the E-Red that we saw used. You know, I saw Mochila being pretty vocal about it. Didn't expect the game to be played really as fast-paced as it was. You know, we know this game is already played very, very quickly, but the addition of the E-Red has sped things up significantly. But let's take a look at Zerg right now. He's trying to find his 4th in a row as we get to Turbine. The player inside will be Joe here, so we've got a pretty close match to kick things off.
Yeah, I mean, this is the hill we always talk about, the money hill. It's about which team can hold this, you know, the break. Normally, if you can get the spawns for it first, you can hold it for a long period of time. It was, however, Team 3G who did rotate first, but it has been broken immediately. And now they're going to look to try and hold this time. It's going to be 0 that gets another 2, but actually finds 3 in the end. They'll be able to hold this 25 seconds. Whether do you decide to rotate at this point? 20 seconds. I personally think you need to.
You have to, but look who's already gotten behind. Let's go over to Rated, because he's playing in a sneaky spot. I don't think they expect this. Oh, the timing's going to work out horrendously for him as Niall will spot him. But that did open up a little bit of an avenue here for Joe and crew to push through. Joe's got the E right out in the back. Nice shots on point to pick off Zerb. And now trying to hold the back spawns and break into Hangar. This should be a pretty easy break. As you can see, it's all red inside the hard point. And now you're going to be able to build a pretty significant lead here for the Red Reserve.
I mean, so far we've seen Team 3G have managed to out-rotate the opposite team, but they're just getting broken immediately, so they're not actually been able to pick any time up on the new hill. But we are, however, on board with Urban. I want to see if he can pick up this kill towards the back. These 2 kills are massive at the minute. However, spawns are 1's flipped out again. Now we're going to see Team 3G break him. It's all down to Joe. He is going to try and get the 2 piece. Not going to happen though. Quicker and Zerg will be there. And now it's kind of back and forth really with these two teams, but it is Red Reserve that have built a bigger lead.
Well, it's a good job though, at least by 3G getting the break. I thought for a second there you might see a full 60 go in favor of Red Reserve after that opening push through. But if you're 3G, you're able to fight back in. You have a 2 streak now for Zerg, 20 seconds left. There's one more player, it looks like, making an attempt through the back for Red Reserve, and that's going to be 0. See if maybe he can steal the final 10 seconds of time. If he finds both kills, that's exactly what he'll do. 10 seconds. He'll be able to find these final 10, and his team is rotated over and raided. So let's get back over to observation deck where he's been able to find one. And his teammates should be able to clean up the second. So you get what the starting time, well, not really going to get the starting time at drill, is looks like it may actually be broken by 3G. But that was a good job by 0, I think, to pick up the final 10 seconds.
I mean, I'm going to mainly pay attention to Joe on this one as well with the submachine gun.
Right,
just needing to see if he can get close enough and cause those problems we were talking about. But it looks like Team 3 are starting to bring their way back into this one as well. And a highlight player for me from Team 3G, Maven, was Weeman. We spoke about him making his way.
Yeah, you used to team with him, right?
Well, you... I don't think it was. I used to team with him as such. I think I may have played with him a few times.
Oh.
Not necessarily sure it was teaming with him.
I've heard that you were a European superstar back in your day.
That's the one. Back in the day, winning
that's
so
what
many
Momo told
events.
me. Momo tried to compete for a long time. He was awful.
Well, Weeman's a player that I want to pay attention to and see if he can be able to do anything in this game. 3 and 9 he started off, so it's not too great really for him. Zerg is able to drop as well there. But now we've seen a bit of a lead change. It is looking like it's going to go back in favour of Red Reserve once again. As we do go back towards mid, this one's extremely close between these two Maven. I mean, so far from that first break, what have you seen? We saw Team 3G were out-rotating, but it got broke very early, and Red Reserve were able to pick up a lot of time.
I mean, for the most part, the thing that stood out to me the most is no one's been able to really get a firm hold. Yes, we've seen a couple rotations, but within 20, 30 seconds, we've seen the breaks come through for each side. Whoever's able to get that first big lockdown, I think, is where we're going to see some clear separation. But as we get now to our second rotation, let's follow Urban as he's rotating through the backside. He has line up Weeman. You can see an X-ray. He's got a couple more in front. Quicker hits the wall run and able to pick up the kill. Let's switch over to his POV as we haven't spent much time on with him. He has 1 in caves. We'll find that for Red Reserve, and now it's on Joe inside. Can't get it done there up close and personal.
He's going to pay attention to Zero's hill time as well. Really carrying the team in terms of hill time on that one. He's doing a great job. But this is the money hill we keep talking about. This rotation was going to come in last time Team 3G rotated first. It was broken immediately by Red Reserve. Once again, it's going to be Weeman in a very important position here. Number 3, I think that's Rated pushing up. If he's able to make this kill and Weeman, his team will be able to push down this side. You can see Team 3G are spawning out as well. So this is going to be some big gun engagements here. It's down to Weeman really to make these first kills.
Oh, they're coming around the edge. He's not even able to find the first. That's the E-Rat up close and personal, breaking through. Quicker will be up on the top ground.
Same again, broken
immediately.
immediately.
Anything, yeah. And no one with an early setup is able to do anything. When you have Zero finding 2 pieces like that, it's surely going to make it difficult. Weeman was still there to back him up, though.
Yeah, they need this. I think they need this 35 seconds at least to hold to push out that lead a little bit more. You're going to see obviously Red Reserve surely soon should begin to rotate over towards the new hill. Niall's going to find a 2-piece. He can begin to push out. Weeman looks like he's going to stay back for the scrap time and hold that one. I want to see which player is going to begin the rotation though from Team 3G. It looks like it'll be number 6 in Niall. He's got a Camo to work with as well. Maybe Camo tries to push towards the back, not going to happen. The Rated will find the kill. Nice lead coming in there. They were able to hold the money hill. It's all about this rotation, though. Joe's in a really good position here. He could pick up a possible two-piece, really assisting his team inside the new hill. We'll stay on board with him, though, but great awareness from Weeman there. He's going to find the kill. And I'm going to be interested to see when Niall does decide to use that camo, whether it's to break the back of the hill or maybe just to try and cause a bit of a contestation inside the hill there. But he's going to drop. And it's going to be all down to Quicker, who will drop as well. So, I mean, when does the camo play come in for you, Maven? Is it to slide into the hill and just contest for a bit, or are you using it to break the hill?
I mean, I would hold on to it for now just because you have the edge, right? You're up 40 points. That turbine hard point through the second set of rotations is really the first, 40-plus point hold that we saw, and it looks like they are going to use it to break in here. So Niall does find one. His teammate already tagged him up a bit, and the assist comes in. You've got 30 points left to be able to break the 200 mark here, and taking a look at the minimap, it's a long trek over for Rated and crew. Let's go to Rated, who's going to try and break in past the Scarab. He actually watches Weeman Scarab destroy his teammate Zero. That's all four dead. And this is getting very, very scary here for the Red Reserve, as we may have two upsets to kick off the day if things continue like this.
I mean, one of the problems as well is we haven't seen much specialist use yet coming in from Red Reserve. I mean, I know that Urban's close to his specialist, but I don't quite know what it is that he's using. If we want to take a look, go on board with Urban, see what he's close to. I just want to see what specialist he could use. I mean, it's FTL jump. It's not really a specialist you could use to break a hill. I know we saw, was it Silly make plays with the FTL jump? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah, Silly made some great plays with the FTL jump. I'm just wondering whether we can see him do anything with that. But the lead is being built by Team 3G here. They broke that 200-point mark. Red Reserve needs to find a way back into this one. I mean, is it down to slaying power for you? Why are we seeing this big lead from Team 3G? What is it going on here, Maven? Why are we not seeing this team come back?
Well, look at Quicker right now with this 6 streak, 17 and 15. Sorry, I was trying to get the team names on for you guys. I was remembering. There we go. Now I got it on. Red Reserve and Team 3G. You'll see them on the screen. I was trying to remember where it actually was in the menu, but we got it locked up now. And 3G just 30 points away from taking this one, as Quicker continues to crush. 19 and 15, 8 streak, a minute plus the hard point, and teeing up another in observation deck. He's got his full streaks to work with. Bombardment and Trinity Rockets here locked and loaded. There's an FTL jump around the back. Might not be able to find the kill. That's actually Joe busting through. He's able to find a big play. But you basically need perfect play now out of Red Reserve to come back in this. They're down big. But if you can do it anywhere, I mean, if they can make it through Bridge and get to Turbine, that's where you can get that flawless hold.
This is the problem as well. Unfortunately, it's gone to a hill that's so open for streaks to attack. I mean, the bombardment comes in eventually. It's going to leave those players from Red Reserve not being able to push them at all. You can see it comes in. That's going to be Quicker picking up even more kills. He found himself a two-piece to start off with anyway with the Trinity Rocket. Fantastic plays from Quicker. The 7 kill streak really did work out for him there. Zerg's going to find one from spawn, and at the minute, Red Reserve are just running into gunfights. They're not going to be able to get close to this hill at all. Congratulations to Team 3G. They take map 1. And I really mean, I have to ask you the question, Maven, is it a surprise to you?
No, I mean, it shouldn't be a surprise since we keep saying Team 3G surprises us, right?
Yeah.
They've done it now 3 events in a row. I can't remember if they formerly, when they were Orbit, obviously, at London, I can't remember if they took them to the Game 5 or if they beat them in the Game 5, but that was the first time the 3G sort of stood out to me, right? It was this exact series at London that I was like, holy hell, these guys are the real deal. I mean, now Quicker, I've seen them play, but I didn't expect them to hang with EU's best, per se. But they keep doing it, man. And same with the likes of like Fnatic and Fuse. I thought it was basically Splice, Orbit, everybody else in EU.
Yeah.
We've improved over the past few weeks. That's not really the case.
Well, I mean, you would have thought that after CWL London, you'd definitely said Orbit and Splice. I mean, it would have been a toss-up between those two, who's the best. I think once these teams have gone over to Atlanta, though, and got the practice in America, they've come back so strong. I mean, you take a look at Team 3G, they've grown every single event. Fnatic, for example, CWL London, not really one of the best events for them, and then going into Atlanta as well. The practice they got from the NA teams, they've just gone before this and beating Cloud9. I mean, the likes of Aches is on that team. I think there's so much good practice that these guys, the EU teams, have got, that this is why I think possibly this weekend we could see an EU team win this event. It's a bold statement, maybe.
I was thinking about my headset being crooked, and then you got my head whipping around so much.
I'm throwing out there.
Repeat that for the people
I'm
here.
out there. I honestly think an EU team could take this event this weekend.
Were you drinking before the broadcast this morning?
Maybe.
I'm kidding. I got Bance. I'm kidding. Bance, I think you're a great player, buddy. If anybody can do it, Splice can. I'm kidding. No, you can't. You can do it.
I mean, that's the question, actually. If any EU team, who would you say?
Right now, you'd have to say Splice.
Yeah?
Oh, God. Okay, Splice or Infused, but I think Splice looked the best. Because you got to remember, Splice, I casted the match against E United where they got reverse swept. They should have 3-0'd E United. And if you did, buddy, if you 3-0'd them, that's a winner's bracket round 1. You're basically already looking into top 6, and you're set up very well for the rest of the event. But they kind of collapsed. E United got rolling, and then they got steamrolled a bit. But they're a match, basically a map away from, I think, a much different result there if they kept going through the winners bracket. So I think Splice, for sure. If there's a team that can do it right now, it's them. Do I think they're going to do it this weekend? I don't.
Well, there's a possibility we might have the same finals we had the previous year. So we see, obviously, it was Splice Optic last final. That Splice team was the team that did really, really well at Champs. And I don't know.
Well, Splice Envy, you mean for the final, but
the last final we had for ESWC was Splice Optic.
Oh, ESWC.
Yeah, the last ESWC.
I was thinking back to Champs. I was like, what?
the last ESWC.
Well, yeah, Optic. Crim's been in every single
so
final.
Optic 3-0 Splice in the finals in the last one we had. So that was when Mad Cat was.
And that was a big showing for Splice too, because that's where they beat FaZe in the game 5. Correct. I'm trying to think who else they beat at that particular tournament, but that's actually. Speaking of how this, talking about Win 3G sort of stood out to me, it was CWL London against the Orbit side. That's when Splice really, I mean, obviously with how CWL worked last year, you know, Europe obviously much more involved. I was watching a lot more of their matches as it sort of became this cohesive thing with the Call of Duty World League. But that was the first time that I sort of was like, wow, Splice, they just beat FaZe. They are definitely the real deal. But
Crusher S&D.
Can they get it done the whole way here? We shall see. What do I need to switch teams? Let's see. I think
yes.
okay.
Anyway, guys, it is going to be
Crusher
Search and Destroy coming up next with these two. So, like we saw Team 3G coming out then, and I think you're right. We can't be saying the whole "are we surprised" anymore. You know, I think this is the most practiced we're going to see this team. They're ready and raring to go.
I'm trying to remember who 3G. Oh, who did they upset in pool play at Atlanta? That
Elevate.
Was it Elevate? But did they beat Rise? Or FaZe? They upset one of the two teams, I believe. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe they did them.
I can see a wave coming from the crowd.
I'm like looking at bands, like which one was it? No, I know they played them. They played them tough. Obviously, Pool A, kind of the group of death. That's the one that ended up being the scariest. But we'll see if they can keep it going. This is certainly a series I think they can take. It's just going to be when they're playing the top North American competition. Can they keep it going? I actually give Orbit a bit more of a chance there in that one.
Yeah, I mean, in going into this next Search and Destroy, I mean, I have to ask you for highlight players. You know, I'm gonna give you the question. So for Team 3G, from what you saw, I think personally mine's got to be Niall. I mean, Niall had an amazing hard point. I think going into the Search and Destroy, he carries on that momentum. He's insane with the K-bar. He's going to really apply the pressure to Red Reserve. I think from Red Reserve, we need to see a little bit more from Rated. He didn't really have a great start going into that hard point. He needs to get himself a little bit more into the game, and I'm pretty sure he will as well. He's a fantastic player, and he's got the capability to definitely lead a team. I would say he's a leader of men.
I'll go quicker from 3G, and on the Red Reserve side, the guy that has stood out for me is maybe their most talented player towards, just really him as a player towards the end of Black Ops 3, and now in Infinite Warfare, it was always Zero for me, but I think Joe is a freaking beast.
With the ERAD as well. I mean, it was so machine gun. He's got the movement is insane. You know, he gets around the map so quickly, and the ERAD, obviously, with this improvement, we keep talking about it, is going to be one of those things you expect to see come in. But, I mean, Crusher, Search and Destroy, though, is it really a map where the ERAD can go off? I mean, is it an ERAD map?
I mean, I guess you can make some plays inside A. I don't think so much more when you're talking about the B side. It's just a little bit wide open. You end up getting those long-range gunfights unless someone gets caught kind of sliding in the bomb planter. But overall, I like Crusher S&D. I know it's a little bit mixed amongst pro players. When you have that map that's not played in different modes, right? It's sort of like thinking back to Hunted last year. When you have one that's not played in Hardpoint, I seem to get more mixed opinions on those particular maps because you have to remember that pro players don't practice a lot of Search and Destroy. At least for North America, I know they never scrim it against each other. That's
why EU always win S&D, by the way.
Probably part of it. They'll only play it when they bump into each other at 2Ks or, Money 8s. So when they then play those maps, I think they're just not as comfortable with them. I mean, even if you don't play a lot of Search and Destroy, if you're playing a ton of Retaliation, you kind of know your comfort spots, right? Your power positions, where you're going to play. Well, what corners do you feel good about? If you never play the map, I feel like you never get there. And you don't scrim as much because it's only played in Search and Destroy. You don't scrim Search and Destroy. So I think that's part of the reason.
Not really a thing, no. But anyway, it's Crusher, Search and Destroys, Team 3G versus Red Reserve. I mean, let us know who you think's going to win as well on social media. We want to get everybody's involvement as well. I mean, who do you think taking this one? I'm going to ask you the hardest question as a caster, obviously that doomed caster's question. Maven, who's taking our Search and Destroy?
I'm making the pick. I'm going 3G. They're taking a 2-0 advantage in this one. They're going to be kicking things off on defense. You know, I talked about Joe before the game, so let's start off with him. It's going to be K-Bar here. And I actually really like this map. It's one of the few where I feel just the setup of it, you can kind of get away with fakes and a little tomfoolery here on this particular map because there's so much pressure towards B. A plays have that much more emphasis when they actually do come out. And what do we have right off the break? It is going to be an A push coming through for the Red Reserve. Don't push my Sky Bridge. That's Joe finding Quicker. Nile falls as well. And an early 4v2.
What a fantastic play coming in there from Red Reserve. They literally pushed
Zerg
out one player defending. And yeah, that was Zerg, who was actually going to be having the sniper in his hands, able to pick up the first one, see if he can get a peek, possibly onto a bomb here. Could kill the bomb partner. Not going to see him, though the wall will be in the way. But what a fantastic play from Red Reserve. Start of the round, they played aggressive, pushed as a team, and they were able to pick up the one player on defense. But Weeman and Zerg, last two alive. Now I was going to be down to Zerg. He's got the sniper in hand. He's going to get shot from behind. What? Somehow is able to turn on Urban and picks up that kill, but will eventually get traded.
I need to use that pistol more.
And that's going to be Red Reserve taking 1-0. And yeah, the EMC, if you've got the trigger finger, you can pick up some nasty
Yeah,
kills.
he was even zoomed in. I was just hip firing wildly behind him. But still, too much. I mean, you get 2 players down early. Red Reserve finds control of the A site, and that's why I like opening up things by hitting A. People don't expect it. You expect most of the action to be going towards B. But now, offense. Who do you want to watch?
I want to see if Zerg's still sniping.
Zerg? All right, let's check it out.
No, let's put it away. Well.
Okay, apparently everyone wants to go A.
Oh, Joe's got
during this pressure.
still out of somewhere from mid-map. It looks like there's going to be trying to be an A push coming in once again. 3G trying to replicate what Red Reserve did, but not necessarily getting as much control this time. Urban's going to find Zerg. It's once again a 1 versus 3. It's down to Nile this time, though. Shaky shots to start off with, but does eventually clean him up. He's got Rated and Urban to deal with. Urban's already 2-1, and he's not going to be able to pick Rated up. Rated finds his first kill, and Red Reserve are coming out in this search and destroy quite strong.
All right, 2-0 lead. Red Reserve. I don't know why I picked 3G. I felt good about it, you know? I go mostly on feelings, rarely on stats.
You got to think of momentum. That's what I mean. Momentum's a big thing in Call of Duty. You take the first hard point. I mean, 3G, you know, the smaller team still, we always talk about it, but you take a hard point against a team like Red Reserve, you've got to be having confidence flowing through your veins. And I think the only way that really Red Reserve can flip this momentum is a 6-0.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Zero's got the boomstick out, so we have to take a look. He's checking mid-map, hasn't found anything. Going up, they're pushing aggressively through mid, though. Rated wants to hit you. I'm going to go to Joe in the back, as he's pushing all the way through their spawn. I was going to say, I don't think they're ready for this at all, but it's actually Zerg that finds a couple. Leaves Zero now by himself. I thought the pressure from Red Reserve was going to work out brilliantly. It does not. And Zero with just a sniper in hand. The pistol's just finding kills everywhere. With hipfire.
Tell me the EMC is the best close quarter weapon in the game, Maven.
It looks like it's 2-bulleting people currently.
Might be the weapon of choice, and we might just have a hard point later on with four EMCs.
Put away the ERAD. Let's just rock the EMC.
Well, it's going to be 2-1 or 2-1. Team 3G will be able to find that round there. So far we're seeing Red Reserve play like super aggressive. Like we've seen it on the first round. They fly into A. Now they're flying down mid map. I expect them possibly to switch it up, find them pushing over towards that B side. But it looks like
now this is more standard.
Where Team 3G is going to go. Yeah, now they're going to be making their way over to more standard push. There's only going to be one player on defense for now, though. That's Zero, and he's going to be trying to see if he can spot anybody. But I'm paying attention to the 2 players flanking. Number 3 and number 2 going to be making their way around the back. It is being watched, however, by Weeman and Zerg. But this is going to be the big gunfights down this side. The bomb's gone down. Possible pinch can come in here, Maven. If these 2 players communicate with each other on both sides, it could be a great pinch.
Well, let's take a look at Weeman's perspective. He sees one of the back, so they know the flank's possible. You saw too many arrows flip around and try and help them. They need to focus on both sides. The pinch is about to come in. Let's check Niles' point of view. Is he did find one. He's able to pick up Zero. Now it's just rated by himself. It's 1 versus 4. Zerg guns him, and now that's 2 in a row. They can tie it up 2-2.
I mean, that's why we talk about B-bomb, because it's that holding it down like that can be so easy sometimes if you're able to communicate with your teammates, watch both sides, and they perform that perfectly. Team 3G are able to tie this one up. Perfect communications in the team, and perfect trades were happening as well. So 2-2 in this one. It's back and forth so far. We saw Red Reserve take the first 2 rounds. Now Team 3G are clawing their way back into it. Weeman started off slow, though, once again. Saw him start off slow in the hard, and he's now 0-3 in the search and destroy. But it looks like Red Reserve are finally going to make their way over towards that B side after seeing Team 3G execute it so well.
Well, I started with Joe because I saw him pull out the ERAD, which we talked about a bit previously, but he's put it away for now, and it's a very, very fast flank coming through. Let's go to Quicker's POV. He's just flying in behind. Should have an easy kill around the crates here. Tags him up, but doesn't finish. It doesn't get turned on, though, but is able to find the kill in Zero. Hitting the wall run is going to be Urban on the opposite side, who's trying to get in behind. Flank the flank for save and can't win the gunfight. And suddenly, Joe, by his lonesome, he's got a 1v2 to clutch. We've seen him do crazier things, but cannot get it done. And Isle sticking the defuse.
I mean, the way that we're seeing Team 3G play this Search and Destroy so far kind of gives me the feeling that they're well practiced in S&D. They must have practiced it quite a bit as a team. I know they've been putting in the hours in terms of game time.
Look at that flank they hit, like how much faster that developed.
Exactly. I mean, you compare it to Red Reserves. Red Reserves went with 2 players. They were really slow. They were checking every corner. I mean, Team 3G are playing with confidence right now.
It's All right, so sometimes you'll hear pro players talk to that. Like, they're playing blind, they're just sprinting, they're holding forward, it only works, blah, 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 it's lucky. That's the kind of play you're taking, though. It's risky. It's like either you get caught by someone playing slow in the corner, or you're going to hit it and find 2 kills, which is exactly what they did. And yeah, you can say it's like playing without your brains, blah, blah, blah. That's not what it is at all. It's just a gamble. It's a risky play. They ended up paying off. Yeah. But it looks like it's going to be another aggressive B hit here from 3G.
I mean, by the time that Team 3G are bomb site, there's hardly any Red Reserve players have moved from their base. This time they're on their pinch and they're going to go for a stack. Now, I'm quite surprised Niall's done this far off with bomb though, but he's able to find 2 kills, finds himself the camera as well. No way, he finds 3.
Get raided.
50 from the Trinity Rocket and Maven. What the hell just happened?
Niall was hungry. Found 3 of the 4 with a sick play there as he pushed towards the back rock. And there you saw aggression versus, I mean, kind of just a stacked defense there. But when you win all your gunfights, when you're feeling hot like Niall is, Quicker steals his ace.
We need someone in...
That was some sick stuff.
I mean, at this point, someone in Red Reserve needs to get this team going. You can see they're playing slow. You can see they're playing a little bit nervous. It's taking them a long time to get out of their base.
You know what's interesting to talk about, too, is we'll switch over to the offense. So, you know how I mentioned the most disappointing teams from Atlanta, if you're looking at America, definitely Cloud9 or Rise, but I think Cloud9 even more so. And then you had Red Reserve, or they're under orbit, but they had a really disappointing performance. So you have Cloud9 continue their disappointing run here with a loss right away, and it's looking like Red Reserve may do the same.
Once again, a 3-man
all 4 down, just completely shut down.
Wow.
Team 3G, man, they're the real deal.
Zerg is 10-4, Niall is 9-2. He has the camo to use, he's fully streaked out. It's about to go to that match point. Team 3G are flawlessly playing this, absolutely fantastic. That was another 3-man flank that came in once again. We saw it over at A, now it's back, sorry, saw it over at B, now it's over at A. Team 3G, they've just got the comms on point. They just look confident in this one, Maven. I think going into the uplink as well, if Team 3G take it here now, this one could be a 3-0.
And if you watched Atlanta at all, specifically a team like Panda, Panda, people were not figuring out their search and destroy. They've done really well in the 2Ks. This particular map, they're the same way, man. They just hit stuff. Yeah. If they're going to hit the flank, 2-3 players will just go at it. If they're going to hit the bomb site quickly, they just hit it. And it's working perfectly for 3G currently, but now it's going to be a 3v3 quickly. We're watching Niall because he's got the camo locked and loaded. Who just went over the top in front? I believe that was 0 of Red Reserve. He just dropped. So it's a 3v2, can maybe close out the round here. They want to use streaks. You see Urban trying to get away. Raiden trying to get the corner hit marker there, but not able to finish the kill. But they know where both players are as well. Look at the minimap here. They're trying to get away.
I mean, the thing is, I'd like to see the Red Reserve team be a little bit more aggressive if they are able to win this round, but you just can't at the minute. You know, Niall's got camo. If you fly at him, he's going to pop that camo and find a 2-piece. At this point, it's a little bit too late, I think. But we're on board with Niall anyway. He's going to call that camo, and he used the bombardment ping as well, if you didn't see, just to see where that one player was. And he has lost him. However, Urban's going to find a 2-piece, so that's the bombardment ping gone. If they're able to win this round, if Rated can clutch this up, there's no bombardment ping, so that's not going to come in, but he's 10-2 Niall. Surely the confidence is with him. The bomb is down. 25 seconds remain in this one, Maven. It's all down to Rated.
I'm getting flashbacks to Karma versus Fastball and that crazy 1v1 round 11, but it's going to be Niall hunting. Does he catch him at the edge? He hasn't been able to. Remember, he does have a plan. And there's the corner. Niall gets it done. 3G, 6-2 of Red Reserve. 2-0 advantage now in the series.
Wow.
Cloud9 still struggling.
Yeah.
Red Reserve still struggling. They can't seem to figure things out. Now, we know talking to the players that a lot of them came straight here. Obviously, there wasn't really any practice, and that's maybe what we're seeing. So these teams didn't get to, they didn't have a month or a couple weeks to rebound and kind of think about what they did wrong in Atlanta. They're just going straight from Atlanta to here. You would hope that it would improve, but I guess, how would it? It's not like you had scrim time, right?
I mean, definitely, we had Clayster on the couch earlier. He was saying, like, look, we're coming in cold into this one. I mean, that's why you've got to kind of think to yourself as well, these first games for all these teams this weekend is literally their first game.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I expect Red Reserve, they'll bounce back from this, and the other games in their groups, they'll win, but I think...
But I feel like you don't have time to bounce back like Atlanta. Like, if you're in pool play, you're never really at risk because, you can go to the loser's bracket, you're not really getting knocked out. But like a lot of the teams here that are, I know you're okay, I guess, if you are Cloud9 and Red Reserve, but a lot of these teams that are in open bracket, it's not like you have 7-8 rounds in your first 3 are kind of warm-ups where you're playing teams that aren't, that strong. You're playing a strong opponent, like round 2, round 3.
I mean, that's the interesting thing. Do you feel like it benefits the teams in the open bracket more than the teams that are in the pools? They've got the chance to play. They've got the chance to warm up.
I think I would agree with that if you had warm-ups, but you don't really right now because the fact that it's just there's not. What do we have? 160 teams in open bracket in Atlanta. It's 50-ish here, I believe.
Yeah.
So there's not as much wiggle room, I guess. So I kind of get what you're saying. With the 4 days off, it'd be nice to have some extra matches. Sure, but not when it's against someone that could beat you. I think that
true.
kinda
Yeah,
changes
I mean that's the thing. I think I was talking to Bryce earlier, and Bryce said, we could see some of the worst placings for some American players at this event that they would have ever had, and not expected. I mean, we've got the likes of Parasite here as well. He's got some tough opponents to go up against. There's a lot of people in terms of American players that are looking to try and get closer to that CWL LAN League spot. But going back to this game anyway, and what we're talking about with 3G versus Red Reserve, it's going into Precinct Uplink next, Maven. And I just feel like there's no way that Red Reserve can claw their way back into this one. I think the momentum is fully on the side of Team 3G.
Never say never.
Never say never is true.
I casted through all Black Ops 3, and there were about 470 reverse sweeps.
We almost saw a reverse sweep previously.
True.
I mean, I guess you're kind of right on that one. I mean, Fnatic almost blew it. But going into Precinct Uplink, Uplink is that type of game, though, where I think if you've got the vocal leadership in your team and you've got that guy that can really, I mean, take a look at Splice with Josh. I mean, Splice were one of the best teams at CWL London in terms of Uplink. Jared, obviously, though, was converted his 1 point so much, but I think having that vocal leader in Josh just really helps in Uplink. You've got to make sure you push the right things at the right time, and I think that's what they need. They need Rated to come through with a big, strong voice and go, listen, lads, yes, we're 2-0 down. We're going into Uplink. We can turn it around here. This is the point where we can bring it back.
Yeah, the first half's going to tell me basically everything, because when you take a look at kind of how this map plays, I know we have seen it play 50-50 at times. We've seen teams score from both sides. But if you get the spawn trap on, when you're pushing towards kind of gas the back alley through ticket booth, really, I don't know why I said gas. You're pushing through ticket booth, and you can get the pen there and put a ton of points on the board. We've seen teams kind of get buried. It'll happen. I'm curious. We'll see. I believe that's going to be the spawn for Red Reserve. We'll find out as we get in. But if they spawn on the strong side, they can put some points on the board. Feel pretty good about it. I
mean, I have to ask this question as well, Maven, which while it's on my mind, you take a look at the MLG Atlanta performance from Red Reserve, where you were speaking about it saying it's one of the worst performances we've seen from that team. If they lose this game to Team 3G, do they fall in your top list of top EU teams?
No, I mean, let's take a look. I don't even have all the notes in front of me. What's the full pool? So it's Optics going to be the other team. So, I mean, I don't think this one match changes things, but when you think about it in the scheme that if they don't beat 3G, they're not beating Optic, and the team that comes into their pool could be your, one of your top guys, like an MB or someone could end up squeaking in. So they could end up finishing last in this pool.
Wow.
I mean, it's
true.
I don't know how. It's hard to go from CWL London, where they were clearly the top team in my head, to now where I have no idea where to place them. As much stock as they've lost, I feel like Infused has kind of gained that much for me based on how they did in Atlanta. But I don't know, and there's also like two different things for me. When you talk about North American teams, I feel like they all kind of play the same against North America or against EU. I feel like there's been some European teams that maybe don't play as well against like other European teams, but match up better against North American teams, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I don't know why that exists. It might just be a play style thing, but I've seen Orbit play just horrifically against some North American teams, then smoke European teams, like at CWL London, but that's obviously not happening right now.
Definitely. Well,
no, they did not get the spawn. I thought I lied.
Well, we're getting ourselves into Precinct Uplink anyway. This is game number 3, guys. If you have just joined us, Team 3G are currently leading this one 2-0. So kind of I keep wanting to say a bit of a shock. I need to stop saying that. I need to stop saying it's a bit of a shock.
At some point, I mean, I guess if 3G were able to get a. It's still shocking because, yes, they get some surprise wins or they take a team to a map 5, but we haven't seen, a top finish really at a LAN. But if they can squeak into the top 8 or something this weekend, that would be truly impressive stuff. But we're on board with Niall as he goes soaring in, sprays every bit of the roof of the precinct.
There.
Yeah.
But it's going to be immediately, though. The ball is going to immediately make its way through. It's going to be Joe leading the way. He's going to have to back up, though, as the gunfight does come in. Zerg and Weeman working together to be able to pick up a few kills. Rated, however, will be towards that mid-map area. Trying to hold it down, and that's a nice kill coming in. He takes Quicker off the head glitch. So far, though, Joe has been the most aggressive player so far. Got the ball the closest to the enemy portal. And now it's going to be back and forth again. I think that Red Reserve needs to come out strong in this one. They need to get the points on the board straight off the bat. They need to start to put a little bit of fear in Team 3G's eyes, because at the minute, I don't think 3G is scared at all.
I wouldn't be. No reason to be. But Joe, dirty stuff there with the Erad finds too, up close and personal, and now that's definitely a dunk. Look where the spawn is coming in. They had to spawn really the bottom left like Cherry Blossom, basically, as they're trying to wrap back. But it's going to be on Urban now as he gets back towards lobby. I think he's trying to figure out where the hell they spawned. But they're going to grab it. This may be a counterattack opportunity. They're pushing right up to mid-street. The one-pointer is away and good. So you give up your your base. The dunk goes through, but you're able to get a one-pointer on the board quickly there, Campbell.
Yeah, definitely. That works really well there for Team 3G, and especially the fact that Quicker stayed alive here as well. If he can pick up a few more kills, he's going to really allow his team to put some pressure on the portal. Eventually, he drops though, and the ball is out towards the left-hand side. Joe's going to make a big 2 kills here as well if he wants to get any points converted at all. He is going to try to take down Weeman. Eventually, he will do, but is swiftly traded. And this is one of my... The fact that the players spawn under the portal here is so hard. When you get the ball to that area, if your 4 players drop, there's no way you're converting points at all. The players spawn so close, you've got to fight wave after wave after wave of players. It can be difficult to convert points, but Urban staying in a very, very scary position for Team 3G, especially if he can stay alive here. He could possibly get past the ball. Joe tried to find his way through, though Urban's got some big kills to make.
Yeah, Urban would have to be a wizard here, but he is behind several. Found one, but not the drone carrier. It's gotten up to the mid-street, so Weeman should have a one-pointer away, and they've been able to tie it up. He can't turn and burn the one pushing from behind him. But let's get back to the setup here at mid. A nice grab, tries to toss it away, but can't actually get to the edge.
Not going to work. The ball stays down in mid-map again, so let's go on board with Rated as he's going to be pushing out towards his left-hand side, trying to force it again. It looks like they're always Red Reserve are always going to send one player on the overextend. It seems like rather than 4 players pushing down this left-hand side, they have that one player, which this time is Joe, to try and cause confusion, come from behind. He is going to pick up the first kill. Ball's still active as well, so it could be a 1-point throw coming in. Quicker's in front. He's not going to do anything. Looks like it could be the 2. They've got one more kill to make. It's player number 6. He's going to go for the 2-piece. He gets all 3, but eventually Red Reserve will settle for the 1-point play. Fantastic plays from Niall on base defense.
Yeah, Niall got another second there, and he might get them all before the toss even gets off, but they're able to get in the one-pointer. And you feel pretty good about Red Reserve right now. Through the first half, from I think the more difficult path to at least get kind of a rally going, they've been able to put up some decent points, but that's another one-pointer coming across the board right before a death, as it'll be tied up 3-3. 2 minutes to go here in the first half of play. And let's get to Zero, because he'll be the lead man, but he drops basically as soon as I swap.
I mean, Red Reserve are doing a great job in getting the points on the board and getting through the enemy base. But the problem they've got at the minute is wrapping back and regaining control of the drone. And you've seen it now 3 times happen. Red Reserve have got points on the board, Team 3G immediately pick up the ball, and they all get a 1-point throw off the bat straight away and tie the game up. I think what needs to happen here, Red Reserve, yeah, it's great you're getting points, but you need to make sure you've got ball control once those points go in.
Can they get some final points in the closing 90 seconds here? It's Quicker chasing from behind. Urban gets to the edge, but can't actually get the toss off. The only one remaining from their side is Joe, and he's coming in from spawn. So now this will be a pretty good opportunity for Quicker and crew to get a last-second score. They found 1 kill, make it 2 kills in front. And Zerg push it up the mid-street. This is definitely points. Go for the 1-point toss, get it away. Nice job. That's where every single one of their 4 tosses come from. Is get the kill or 2 from the mid-street, didn't get greedy, not worried about going for the dunks, just getting the points on the board when they can. But is this enough of a lead where they're going to be swapping at half? I don't know.
I don't really think so, no. I mean, but the thing that's great about Team 3G is they look really calm as well. They're not trying to force anything, you know. They pick up a few kills and they easily make their way through mid-map. This time, though, they might be able to convert to a 2.
There we
Finally,
go.
they will. So the kills come in quicker, stayed alive, though. He's now on a 3 streak, 12 and 8. This is where the spawn trap begins.
Yeah, this may not be over. Well, I think Niall thought they spawned out. He should have been in this position earlier to be set up to shut him down. There goes the 1-point toss. It does go through. I thought it was going to get picked, but nobody able to get vertical enough to shut it down. And surely that'll be the end of the damage in the half. So I was asking if this was enough of a lead when they were up 1. They ended up putting 3 more points on the board. That's exactly what you needed. In Red Reserve, though, you played a pretty good half from the weaker side. Well, I'm sorry, you played a pretty good 4.5 minutes from the weaker side. You collapsed there at the end.
Maybe some more points to come. 5 seconds remaining. Not going to happen. Weeman will find the kill. He's going to throw the ball away, and surely that'll be it for the half. So Team 3G going to be leading 7-3 on this one. Obviously, like you said, you know, they were making it their way through mid-map. They were converting the 1-point throws, and eventually they pick up enough kills, and they're able to break through and put that 2-pointer on the board. But I have to ask you, Maven, Red Reserve now going to go onto that side. They looked confident with the ball when they sent that 1 player on overextend. I think it was Joe numerous amounts of times, caused so many problems in the enemy base. I think it comes down, though, and as stupid as it sounds, it is slaying power at this point in time. Team 3G are picking up the kills in the more important areas than Red Reserve.
Well, you only saw the spawn trap for all of basically 15 seconds. There's only 1 bit of spawns there where you got it set up for Team 3G. Red Reserve should be able to get that going a couple of times to this one. And if they do, I mean, this 4-point lead could evaporate in the opening 90 seconds, and this is exactly what you didn't want, is the pressure coming in now. Urban has the dunk off the break. They don't have them pinned perfectly yet, but Zero should be able to get to the edge. He's got a teammate at mid-street as well. This is exactly what you couldn't allow to happen. Rated still in the base. They need somebody to grab the drone and get in. But, okay, so 3G is able to clear out the base. They stop the bleeding for now. yes, you give up a dunk in the opening break, but I mean, you could have seen the whole lead evaporate instantly if they would have killed one more cycle of players.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as long as Urban's alive here, he's causing problems at the minute. If he can pick up that kill from his right-hand side, that would be big, but he's going to drop. So now they can try to work a push down this right-hand side once again, Red Reserve. It looks like they're going the opposite way to Team 3G. They prefer to go down this side. I think it's a little bit easier maybe to get the spawn trap as well when you go from this way. Obviously, if you push through mid-map, you've got to go back on yourself. Joe, though. 3-piece from him, and that's going to be a dunk that comes through, and already Red Reserve have managed to tie this one up against Team 3G. It looks like this is their better side for sure.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was really curious about, was who would do better with this particular push. And you see pretty obviously, when you take a look at the minimap, they're just trying to fight out towards gas station, wrap back. This is at least another 1-point throw. If he would have got greedy there for the dunk, he may not have made it. So I like the option to go for the 1-point toss, but that was really all opened up by the 3-piece you saw coming in from Joe with the ERAD. We didn't see him use it a ton on the search and destroy, but it's coming in beautifully here in uplink.
Yeah, I want to talk as well a little bit about Rated having a much better game than we saw in the search and destroy in the hard point. Maybe what I said earlier was talking about Rated needs to get behind his team, needs to get his team pumped up for this one, and it looks like they're coming out strong in this, but Team 3G, though, are still only 1 point away, and for the first time in a long time, they've managed to actually contact themselves with the ball. Weeman's trying to pick up this first kill, rather than force it down the left-hand side. Zerg's made 2 big kills, though, but there's no one there to find that third one. Ball is still stuck towards his left-hand side, quicker, waiting for some teammate support, trying to, I think that was Zero inside the ball point there that stayed alive, and I mean, you have to take a look at that as well. 21 and 14 from Zero, he's having a good game as well.
And this could very well be a dunk. It should be Rated pushing in the front, watching Ticket. Oh, they decided to just go for the 1-point toss. They probably get, well, maybe actually couldn't have dialed it in for more. Finally, 2 will drop here for Red Reserve, but you still have Zero hanging around the backside of the base, killing players mid-street. Gonna check Ticket's move as well. The player of Swamp back alley was able to pick him up. That was quicker. But you've already got the drone out. It's been tossed forward. And you've got Camo here. And, sorry, Overdrive. They should be getting close.
I mean, the problem we've seen...
FTL.
I mean, where else would we
Camo's getting there.
Yeah, Camo's getting there as well. But I mean, the problem we've seen with 3G, though, and we're going to actually see Overdrive coming first, so let's just make sure we see if any points can come in through this. It's going to be the 1 point that goes off. Eventually, it will go in as well. But I was going to go back to what I was saying. The problem we've seen with Team 3G is the only thing they've been doing this half is clearing their base. We haven't really seen them touch the ball that much. They haven't been able to work together in a team push like we saw them do so well in the first half. This second half, it seems like that team's just completely disappeared, Maven.
Yeah, I mean, they've been fighting for their lives, basically coming out of spawn throughout most of this game. They haven't been able to really get comfortable, get any kind of map control whatsoever. That makes it very, very tough and, well, very frustrating gameplay, I'm sure. Zero pops the reactive so that he can win a big 2-piece battle outside the back of the drone spawn. Now, so Rated's really close. I'm trying to think what you have to work with. Niall's got the camo as well. If they can get him in a position to make a play, you have a chance.
I mean, you're only 3 points down at the end of the day. You're only a dunk and a throw, and there's a 1 minute 15 remaining until your time is running out, and that's the 3 kills that you needed. Now you can go. It's going to be 1 more player left alive, Joe, but this is what I mean about this portal. The players are spawned up already. You've just made 3 kills, and it literally means nothing. Zerg is by himself. He's got Overdrive to use, but if he picks the ball up and goes for a point now, he's surely to be dead. Urban will find him, and once again, the ball is back in the hands of Red Reserve as they're going to take it away to their spawn for a little bit and waste some time.
Yeah, by the time Niall got there to maybe make a play with the camo, I think 2 out of his 3 teammates were already dropped. So it doesn't come into play at all. Now you've got a chance to get forward with Joe.
Points go through here, I think it's game.
Still got Urban to help him out. Gets the edge. They have to kill him there. All 4 fall, but not before the toss gets off. And that may very well be the dagger. We've got 35 seconds left to work with. 3G not looking like they're going to cement this one with the 3-0.
And I think this
Red Reserve staying alive.
I think this is like perfect answer for what you said earlier. You know, you were talking about TCG really got a big enough lead. I don't think they did. You know, they were doing so well on that first side that they needed to convert more points. Red Reserve, you know, got their wits about them, came back in this one, and now they were able to tie us up within the first minute.
Well, I think the difference is really just the fact that from that side, Red Reserve actually got some points, right?
Yeah,
you haven't seen anything go through with 3G. They've had 0 offense. It's a little bit more difficult to develop it where 3G are playing from. It's not even, they never got out of their base. They never got comfortable. There was one time you saw them at Statue where they got in a couple fights, but that was really it. I mean, it was an ugly one. That was very, very frustrating gameplay for 3G for 5 minutes.
Yeah, definitely. They just looked so strong in that first half. I really thought they were going to take it and close out this series, and that could be something that they might look back on and regret, because now Red Reserve have had the momentum change. Red Reserve are now ready to go into this one. We're going to be going over to the hard point. We saw Team 3G take it first quite, I wouldn't say dominantly, but they looked really, really sharp. They looked quite good in that one. I don't know which way this one's going to go now. I expect Red Reserve and their team to build momentum from this one and really strive through into this series. We could possibly see a reverse sweep on the cards, but it's all about that hard point. I think if it goes to the Search and Destroy, I'm going to make the shot call now, no matter what happens in the hard point. I think if it goes to the Search and Destroy, that's when I see the experience of Red Reserve coming.
Okay.
I think they take the series 3-2 if it goes S&D.
All right. That's certainly possible. Is making sure I got our sides right. I'm in caster mode. All right, I think I'm good to go. My part's done.
Awesome.
I had someone that did this. So usually, I think my headset's falling
Let's
off
have a
my
conversation.
head. It's because my head's so skinny. Not skinny. It's just tall. I have a very tall head. It's very egg-like if you've seen my Twitter avatar. But no, I had at Atlanta. I had someone finally. It's the first event ever where there was someone driving for me. I didn't have to do it.
Luxury.
I didn't have to think about anything. I just watched the screen. I didn't have to control it. Now I'm back to basically being an admin as well, and I'm just trying to remember how to do it. I think I have
the luxury.
Well,
hey?
actually, let's check, make sure I got sides right.
The luxury of having somebody drive the whole podcast.
All right, I think I got it.
How was Atlanta anyway? I never got the chance to ask you. How was it?
It was awesome. That was, to be blunt, I think Atlanta, from a result standpoint, definitely maybe top like 5 events for me. It was just, you had the dream run for Optic through the losers bracket, E United, the EU versus NA thing. There were a ton of great storylines, but like from a standpoint of me, just working his talent, that was probably the best, smoothest event I've ever been a part of. It was
awesome.
It bordered on flawless to be just from an admin standpoint of getting all the teams ready, scheduling. It was pretty crazy. I think I am in the proper mode.
Are we all good to go?
Yeah, I think so.
Awesome. So
They won't stay in Codcaster. They keep trying to kick me off. They want me to play.
Have you ever thought about that, maybe? You ever thought about being a player?
No, I competed in some competitive FPS when I was a young lad. Well, I think I was 18 or 19. I went to my first MLG in 2004, so it was 13 years ago. I'm now 32 years old. I don't have any hair left in my head, and I am slowly dying.
Scar.
I've got like 10 good years left in me, 20 not good ones. It's not gonna. The rest of my life is bleak. I just got to the age where it's basically I'm looking downhill. Like there's no up. You know when you have the climax of your story or your life. I've hit the peak. I'm just free falling now. But it's gonna be fun.
You're working with courage, though. I mean, there's not a peak in your career.
I work with Jack. I live with Jack. I hate Jack. Like, he's a good kid, but he's just so young. Like he's what 22, 23, something like that. So he's like a decade younger than me, and he's just still like he's just loud.
Loud.
He's got so much energy, it freaks me out.
Yeah,
it's like I live with like a giant puppy.
A giant puppy.
But like a puppy that you don't really care for.
That you would take back.
Yes.
Yeah.
You take it back, or like you'd actually send it to the pound.
Yeah. Make sure no walks either.
No. Take care of yourself, puppy. But all right, so we're getting ready to go into game 4. If you are just tuning in, we had the upset in the first series that we had here on the stream. It was Fnatic upsetting Cloud9. 3G looked poised to do the same against Red Reserve. Not able to do so as Red Reserve bounced back. They win the uplink. This is, honestly, it's the same story that we basically saw in the first series. Fnatic was ultimately able to close it out. We'll see if 3G can do the same.
And I wonder if they do it in the same fashion as well, where it looks like Red Reserve are going to win it the whole time, and then 3G make an insane comeback.
Yeah, wasn't it, what, it was a 100-point advantage for Cloud9 on the hard point, right? And then you saw Fnatic able to fight back.
I mean, I'm going to have to ask you the question. I mean, we were talking about predictions and stuff. I mean, do you see the Red Reserve momentum carrying them through this hard point? Oh, is Team 3G going to take this out? I mean, I have to ask you, man.
I think we're on to game 5. I do.
You do want to see?
I think Cloud9 is in a bad place right now. Okay. I think after their Atlanta placing, I don't think they're in that good of a spot. I think they'll figure it out, but I don't think the chemistry is there. There's some issues with Cloud9. I think Red Reserve a little bit more of just a slow start this weekend. Yeah. I think they're gonna bounce back and have I think they'll have a good finish compared to what we saw in Atlanta. I really do.
Right then, 30 seconds on the clock. It's Retaliation Hardpoint Team 3G versus Red Reserve. We've got the series 2-1 to Team 3G so far. Maven says Retaliation is going to go to Red Reserve.
They're going to take it here. Let
us know what you think is going to happen.
First game 5.
We're starting to get hyped now. Starting to get really into this series, but maybe it goes to that game 5.
Oh, yeah, you've never casted with me, so I sporadically get really loud and hyped. I don't know where the energy comes from. I think it's also an age thing. I just will get sudden bursts of energy.
Somebody reloads and you just, wow.
Yes.
Reload.
I don't know where they come from.
He's got a gun.
Yes.
Awesome.
So you might, don't get startled, don't get scared.
Fall back off the stage.
Just appreciate it, because when you're 32, any burst of energy you have, you're going to appreciate it as well.
Take it.
All right, we're on board with Rated, though. Able to make one player one shot, but not finish the kill. We'll swap over to Joe, trying to control Bridge, as he'll get gunned down. 2 were down for either side. But looks like we may see 3G able to rack up some points here as they're splitting. Well, no one wanted to stay in the hard point. You need to stay in the hard point to get points.
Well, in the last hard point, we saw Nile go off at the start. He went on a 5-kill streak, and they really did build a lead. So far, it's a little bit closer in this one. Nobody really going for the hill whatsoever. Quicker's going to push out himself as well. He's going to find himself a kill, but the one player hitting the wall, where number 8 is the one paying attention to it, 0. He could make some seriously big plays.
I think that's why he went to that position. Just trying to play sneaky. He knew he was the only one up, waiting for his teammates to spawn in to give him some help. Tried to get to a position where he could at least be there for the retake attempt. By finding that one kill, did his team a favor, but now it's going to be kills coming in from Joe and Rated. That shift focus back to Red Reserve. Now, typically this map, we'll see a lot of the time come in that cycle between Cathedral to the broken building, but what shocked me a lot from Atlanta is we saw certain teams were really, really good at holding down lower street. If they rotated early, just an excellent job locking it down. We saw 50 points come out of the full 60 on this particular hard point. Curious to see with Red Reserve getting the early rotation. We'll see them do a little bit of the same, but Quicker wants to say something about it. Never mind, he wants to slide in and say absolutely nothing as he gets picked up on the rotation.
Let's say absolutely nothing. So let's be on board with Rated then. He's inside the hill right now, controlling it down. It looks like there's a lot of MV4s currently on the map right now as well. You expect to see that on a map like Retaliation. So many long lanes of sight.
And look at this, though. This is what I'm talking about. This has turned into a bit of a money hill. You're so focused on the rotation to Cathedral to get set up that you really only need to kill 2 cycles of teams and they give up the point. So you're going to get just about a full 60 here for lower street. Now, if you can win this couple gunfights, rotating over to Cathedral, they can blow this game wide open.
Team 3G did make that rotation, but we spoke about it in the Scorch. Every single time Team 3G rotated, Red Reserve broke it. Looks like it could be the same thing here now as well. Quicker's going to find a big kill. Niall's going to find one, and actually it's going to be amazing plays from Quicker there. Come in, Rated was inside, trying to push inside the hill. And
that was a 2v4 situation kind of there that you're able to hold off. Let's go to Quicker. You talked about him. He's on a 3 streak now, 7-4. And that was almost a game-saving play because you gave up the full 60 lower street. If you allow them to just bully their way in, which they almost did, they got the first 2 kills, you're looking at another probably at least 40 points, so it's like a 120 type game. Clutched up.
Oh yeah, how far you spawn out on this hill as well. You literally, it's like 15 seconds you give to the other team just trying to get back to the hill. Big plays coming in there, all 3 players drop it. It was once again all left down to Quicker. He's not going to be able to do anything though, and he will eventually drop. So the rotations come in now. This is really important here. Looks like it will be Team 3G, though, that are going to be rotated perfectly. You're on board with Zerg. He needs to make sure he can pick up this big kill here. There's the kills over towards the left-hand side. Number 5, who snuck past number 3. And now is pretty sure as well his teammate inside the hill isn't going to know about this, but it looks like he's gone back for the kill. He will be able to pick it up. That's a big play from Joe there.
And Joe sneaks him behind. He needs a little bit of teammate help. He's got Urban pushing with him now. Urban picks up Nile, and now it's going to be a 2-on-2, actually kind of a 3-on-2 here for Red Reserve. They should be able to break in. You see the spawn out coming in for the 2 opposite players, and there's the second in the back. Bye-bye, Quicker. He's gone, and now it's control for Red Reserve with 35 seconds left on the hard point.
And I love, Maven, how close this hard point is. It's back and forth. We saw Team 3G holding the Cathedral. Now it's Red Reserve holding the destroyed building. I don't know which way this one's going to go. You look at the scoreboard as well, there's nobody really standing out. There's nobody having an insane performance though, but it's going to be 0 inside the hill. He's able to pick that kill up. He's got one more big kill to make. It looks like his teammate will be there to assist though. This player is jumping left, right, trying to go from behind as well. Is he going to pick him up? Eventually, no. Quicker will find the kill. It's not going to make the difference though. Joe is inside the hill. He'll pick up that scrap time, but going over towards that mid-hit hill, it's really, really scrappy this hill. I think it all comes down to the slaying power. Who's got the biggest slaying power is able to hold this hill down, but it's Red Reserve we see making a point break in this one.
I mean, I think the thing that stands out to me the most is you don't have really anyone positive right now, right? On 3G, Quicker's going to be the only one, and a lot of it was that big spree that we saw at Cathedral. But now, as we get to hotel lobby, let's go to Nile, who's inside. He's able to clean up another one. That's a 3 streak, 4 streak. 5th is behind. Finally, he'll drop as Joe shot off his toe from the edge. And you've got a good chance to get a lead change here if you can keep holding it down.
And let's talk about Nile really quickly for a second. We saw him in the first hard point have a fantastic start to the game and is able to continue throughout the series playing so well. I mean, well, I talk about
outside of that.
And then that's what goes and happens. That's the caster's curse for you. But I mean, he's having a fantastic series. 11-13 so far. Not necessarily as good as the first hard point we saw, but still having a good game. But this one is just so back and forth. There's not really much of a lead happening at all. Every single time when you go to a hill, it seems that Red Reserve only put like 10 points on their lead.
Let's see what Rated can do, because he's got 3 in a row now, Campbell, 13-8. And this is somewhere where
he's got great hill time
specifically
as well.
in this title, he's talked about his struggles. The spawns didn't really make sense to him when they were adjusted. He said he was struggling at hardpoint, couldn't really get a feel for it, even though he was dominating in Search and Destroy. Right now, it seems like he's getting into a rhythm. His streak continues. Almost guns another one there going across the top. And now the pinch is going to be coming in, but one player spawned in behind. So it'll be Niall, who should be able to line up a few players around the edge. But the big thing, though, is Raiden still stays alive.
Wow.
And he is on the 6th streak, fully streaked out like you mentioned. And doing a great job here on Bridge, dominating with the MV4.
A couple more kills as well. He would have found himself camo. Weeman, though, will find the 2-piece. Eventually shuts down Rated streaks. He's 16-9. What a fantastic performance from him. He's really starting to build his way into this series. Needed a little bit of those first games to warm up. And now we're starting to see the Rural Red Reserve that we know. Urban's close to a specialist as well. I'm pretty sure it's FTL jump. So we saw that used previously. Now it's rotating back over to this so-called money hill, which you mentioned earlier, Maven. It means you need Team 3G to really hold down this one for a long period of time. They want to bring their way back into it.
I mean, it's not exactly a money hill. It's sort of becoming one for me because we've seen teams do so well here. And remember, this is the hill that stands out the most from the first side of rotations because you got a full 60 for Red Reserve. And now look, they're poised to maybe do it again. They're locked inside. They're trying to push underneath their bike path. You see number 4, which is Zerg, trying to push underneath. But you can get the high ground here on the plat. And if you can get a player inside, you can really do a lot of damage. But this time, 3G broke for a moment. They find the final kill there. It's just Zero who will eventually fall. But now look where you're spawning, though, if you're Red Reserve. You feel okay. The spawn gets flipped. You're going to be holding the Cathedral Market side of it. You got the opening 30 seconds. You feel all right. So even though 3G got the break, they haven't got any time. They're not doing any damage to you. You'll extend your lead. If you looked at total points earned right now on Lower Street, it's something like 80-5.
Yeah. Well, I think it was Rated that used the streaks there. Trinity Rocket came in, didn't find anybody, so I don't necessarily think it was a wasted score streak because Red Reserve were able to stay in the hill while the players of Team 3 were trying to hide. Team 3G, sorry, were trying to hide from it. But it's gone over towards that Cathedral Hill. We saw Quicker have a fantastic performance earlier, held off in a 2 versus 4 alongside his teammate. It's going to be Team 3G once again, rotated first. Can they hold it though? They're going to need to bring this one back because if Red Reserve break this hill, they're going to break the 200-point mark, Maven, and this one could get like real close to going to a game 5.
Well, Raiden pops the camo, so I want to swap to him. He has a gunfight market. He's able to pick it up. There's one player left from 3G that can make a play. It's Quicker. And he's just waiting for some teammates, I believe, to work with on the pinch. Shots a little bit shaky, but finally able to pick up Rated. And now the pinch will come in. It's just Urban inside. Shot, whirlwind, but teammate there covers him with the headshot, loses that aim assist once he drops. You see how tricky it'll be without that.
I think there was a window open somewhere in
Right,
here.
a little drafty.
He's a little drafty. Quicker's going to find the kill though, and it's going to be the break, but it's only 10 seconds. Now you're going to go over to rotation towards that broken building, destroyed building again, sorry. Urban's going to be the player to pay attention to. He's the one that's managed to get around the back. Nobody yet from Team 3G has managed to get here. This is going to be big gun engagements going down.
I'm always going to call it broken building too, by the way.
Broken building, yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Like, that's always going to be what I'll call it.
Broken building, we will agree on calling it that then. But this is going to be the big gunfights for me. I think Team 3G needs to break this one if they're going to look to take this one and finish this series. But it is going to be them that are flooding into the hill. Rated to come along to help his teammate Zero. Done enough so far. He's found 2. And the final kill will come in from Rated there. They're going to make those players spawn out. It's all down to you, Quicker. You've got one player to deal with, and it's going to be Urban.
But he's going to go ahead and use the reactive. Doesn't save his life. Gets him one shot.
Wow.
But it is Urban that can finish the kill, but still being traded out. Niall found one more. The gunfight's hot and heavy here at Broken. But in the back, it is going to be Joe. We'll swap over to his POV. They've got 2:15 on the board. Looking to push this to a game 5. 15 seconds here left in the hard point, which will put them just 20 or so away from closing this out.
What's Niall got specialist-wise? I can see he's got a specialist. Is that camo?
Niall's going to have the camo available. So this could be very good to use in the clutch to get the break. But I mean, the camo is not going to account for a 55-point difference.
It's really interesting as well in hardpoint, Maven, how many times we're seeing camo used just for contesting. You know, we've seen it, we wouldn't really see it in Black Ops 3. You know, normally in Black Ops 3, we saw the camo used for breaking spawns, pushing around the back, you know, getting behind enemy teams. But before that camo comes in, it could be over because Red Reserve have managed to break the hill. They're 2-4-1, literally 9 points away now from closing this one out, and that's why Weeman's got so aggressive. He knows he has to get inside this hill. He does find one though. There's 2 more players to deal with. Zerg will find Rated, and now it looks like he was just trying to break through. It's not going to happen. The kill's going left, right, and center. Maven doesn't even know who to go on board with at this point.
Yeah, this is one of those fun ones to control in Godcaster. Is it's just everybody getting gunned inside, but you just need 7 more points. Red Reserve looking to close it out now. Zero inside and popped his reactive armor. Killing one gunfight coming in. They lose. Is Urban in? That should be it.
Should be it.
Game 5, baby.
Wow, Maven, you were right. You called Game 5, and it's Game 5 that we're having, and I called as well. that if it went to Game 5, we would see Red Reserve win it because of the pure experience. I
This
honestly
is our
think,
first time cast together. We got a game
Boom.
5. I'm excited.
literally, a game
How you
high
doing?
five.
How you doing, Jack? We have the whole casting talent here, plus Zed. You're going to be a caster someday. You're ready to retire.
Wow.
I'm kidding. He's a fantastic player.
Look forward to seeing Zed perform this weekend as well.
But, all right, so now we got to talk predictions, though, for the Game 5.
Wow.
This is crazy, because considering when we opened pool play for Atlanta, I think we started with, I think it was like 3 3-0s. Am I making that stat up? I might be. But I remember it was a lot of 3-0s to kick the day off. The matches weren't very close. And pools that we didn't expect a lot of 3-0s because those were kind of the scariest pools we'd ever seen. But it was tons of 3-0s to kick the day off. Here we got a Game 4. Now we're going the distance for the Game 5. Let me make sure I've got everything right in Codcaster.
And I mean, what you said earlier, you were talking about the other team that's in this group. It's Optic Gaming. Like, this game matters so much to these two teams about getting out of pools.
Well, the interesting that yes and no, because surely it's important, but typically you would say if you were able to win this, you're kind of set up for second in the pool. But with how strong the open bracket is,
Well,
not really. I mean,
True, yeah.
you have no idea who's going to come out. There's a chance right now with all the North American talent in pool play, like every single of the open bracket teams that come in pools could go top 2 in the group.
Yeah, that's a
single
crazy
one.
thing, yeah.
Which I'm confident I've never said that before. I mean, sometimes you're surprised if an open bracket team is able to, like, steal a series.
Oh, we always go, they came from open bracket.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Like, that's like
The only time we really see, at least since I've been casting, where an open bracket team really makes a long, deep run is typically first or second event when, pro points or whatever the current form isn't really settled yet. You don't know where people really play. It's like thinking back to, Enigma 6 made that crazy run out of open bracket the first event in Vegas, and then had pool play in Atlanta. They got smoked. But you just don't see it that often typically later in the game. So this is the one time, just because of how stacked it is and how the seeding worked, only having 4 North American teams in pools, where, you could have an open bracket team win every single pool, which is just absurd to me.
wow, imagine that. Imagine an open bracket team topping every pool.
Yeah, I mean, it probably won't happen, but it certainly could.
Yes,
is
the
what's
possibilities
scary.
are there, yeah, more than they'll ever be. The only thing I want to talk about, though, is our next map. So Game 5 it is, and we've spoken about that. We're going into Throwback. We spoke about on Retaliation the NV4. Now, the NV4 came in from Red Reserve, I think, better than the NV4 on the opposite side.
Okay.
And this is a long lane sight map again. Once again, we're going to see these two teams battle it out on that long range map. And I think, as well as the NV4 use coming in from Red Reserve, I just think the experience is what's going to do it for
Well,
them.
I'm curious if this will be a little bit more exciting to watch than this map in North America. A lot of times it ends up being just people kind of hopping around by the bike path, trying to find a kill at range. You don't see a lot. That's kind of why I like Crusher so much. You see a lot of flank attempts or a little, some curious play on Retaliation. On Throwback, not so much. Just because Courtyard, typically teams are scared to push that side out of blue because it's death trap. Unless you're sniping over there, it's just not easy. It's completely open ground. You got nothing to play behind. I don't know. We'll see if the EU teams will make this interesting, make it a little bit more surprising. But usually it's just bike path, top, middle. That's where basically every gunfight goes down.
Definitely, yeah.
And if you're the superior team with the MV4, you should have a pretty good edge.
Yeah, I mean, I think as well, like, the one thing for me on this map, I think I saw Optic play it, that, Karma slides up to the bomb every single time, and the first priority for their team is to get the bomb down on A. I think you really have to be aggressive on Search and Destroy on this game, especially this map. You need to get that bomb down before the players get themselves set up, the nades have come in, and all that happens. I think whichever team does play super aggressive on that A bomb site and is able to put it down, I'm right in saying A bomb is under the bridge, or is it B bomb?
A.
A, it is, isn't it?
B, I believe, is in Courtyard. Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
B is in Courtyard.
I'm horrendous with that. The number of times I've looked at
I
these
was thinking-
maps too, I've cast them a million times. I had to do like VO for all of the map fly-throughs. Where Mr. X and I, they went through a road of all of them. But for some reason, like certain maps, BA sticks in my head perfectly. Others, I don't know, doesn't stick
not
for
an
me.
age
But
thing, I
you're gonna
promise you.
see, all the action. Oh, it definitely is. You're gonna see all the action towards bike path for the most part. Really, the only things I can think of that highlight on the opposite side in Courtyard is usually some sniper play or that random hit. You just don't see it that frequently. Typically, any flanks you're going to see are going to come through mid-map, typically late in rounds if you have like a man advantage. But they are into the rig draft. We should be loading in here shortly.
We spoke about it in Game 1. The difference between Urban and Zerg Specialist, they've been the same throughout the whole thing. Urban's running FTL jump and Zerg's running overdrive, so there's no FTL jump on the side of Team 3G. In Search and Destroy, I think that overdrive might be something to watch out for.
My gut would tell me, if we're talking last year to Black Ops 3, obviously we didn't really have FTL jump, but overdrive was super effective.
Oh, yeah.
It was basically a free first blood a lot of times because you would get to a really nice spot. But here, we haven't really seen it make its presence known, and I kind of like not that's really a gamble, but I kind of like seeing FTL jump a little bit more just because I don't think we've seen it used to the best of its potential because it just hasn't been used that much or that effectively by many players.
You ready, Maven, for that strange burst of energy? It's game 5. Hit me with
Ladies
it.
and gentlemen, it's game 5 of Jack Courage Dunlop, and here we go.
That's right, it's game 5. Kicking off between these two, and it's an aggressive push coming through the middle. Literally everyone is meeting each other in the middle of the map.
Friends.
Joe finds a 2-piece. He's going to put his first 2 kills on the board, and immediately in this one, it's a 3 versus 2. Rated has the bomb over towards that A side, but completely ignoring what I said. Just run mid-map, Maven.
There we go. Joe, you rowdy little ginger, going in there and making some action happen top mid. It is going to be a 3v2. Weeman and Zer are going to be up for the side of 3G. Getting tagged up in gun, though. It's now 2 versus 2. Right into 0. Trying to get it done. Now it's Weeman by himself. Getting flanked. No! The shot's not on point. Rated. Gets burned. Weeman in a good position here to use cover, but you have it. The back boss is going to be 0. 25 seconds left on the clock. You saw him cross. Oh, boy.
There was no way 0 with the experience was letting that one happen.
He gets it done.
Weeman with a... goes for that one, but not going to pull off that one at all. 0 did run away, and I mean at that point, you know, you've got the bomb down there. You know where the other player is. You're just going to play your life. You're just going to hide.
I mean, for Weeman, it's not the easiest play. You either try to stick it there and hope you get lucky, or you have to go hunting immediately. And you're basically pushing up around where he's going to get vision of your head before you really even have a chance to shoot back. It's not an easy one. But let's switch sides. Let's now get over to. We got to go to Weeman, right? He has all 3 of their kills.
It's halfway to a Centurion.
Come on, Weeman.
What?
All right. Oh, well, we've seen it used a bit in S&D. Centurion, obviously much more popular since the Synaptic ban. But it's the 2 Zs coming in first, 0 and Zerg, finding kills for either of their sides.
Well
Weeman by himself. Another 1v1. Weeman, you got 5 and 1,
Wow.
and he gets it done.
Weeman, we were talking about him earlier as that player that's just come up. He's 6 and 1 to start this one off. He's one of the only players really getting enough kills in his team. The MV4 comes out, exactly what we were talking about earlier. MV4 on a map like this can be so dominant. What a start Weeman's having. If anyone from Team 3G really, let's be honest, Maven, you would expect to go off, it was not Weeman you were picking.
These rounds could be literal blowouts if it wasn't for Weeman. I mean, he has 6 kills. Zerg has 1. Quicker and Isle have yet to show up to the game 5.
Wow.
But, all right, here, actually, let's go over to Joe. He did play really, really aggressive last time, so he does flood mid-map. Doesn't go the same. This time the power's on Widow. No, he's still there! Hiding, sneaky, finding one.
Another one.
All right, why did I go off with Weeman? He's going to have Centurion available in round 3.
What? It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, but let's stay on board with him. Can he pick up this kill? The number 2 is actually flanking all 3 players. He knows exactly where they all are as well. Is he going to find him? He finds 1, finds the second. Surely not. Urban's going to go for 3. No! Weeman, once again, you are the man at the moment. You have found yourself another kill.
Weeman is the greatest player in the history of Call of Duty.
Really?
No.
Can we go to that one so far?
No, he's not. But I love him.
I was thinking a few heads in the crowd of the pro players we've got from EU just went, Maven. Really? Really, Maven? Come on.
He has now been in 3 1v1s. He's won 2 of them. All right, I'm coming back to you, buddy.
I mean, we were talking about Optic earlier. We saw Crim6 drop 20 kills in Search and Destroy. Is Weeman going to replicate what Crim6 did?
I need Team 3G to get an organization so I can rep a Weeman jersey.
You're going to buy a jersey just for Weeman?
Yes, I will.
Awesome. Okay, yeah, I'm holding you to that one.
But look at the flank developing early.
Streaks as well. 25 from the streaks.
Look at wait, actually he pops the Centurion, so he got that down. Joe gets caught on the flank. Don't run into Weeman's in before. This thing's a cannon.
Run away from Weeman.
Oh, he's actually tagged up. He's going to end up dropping. So you call the Centurion there. They're going to be able to destroy that and get the defuse. So that's a big round now if you're Red Reserve. The Centurion comes out. I mean, that could have been a big play. Had they come down to 10 seconds or something like that, that ends up being the deterrent between getting the defuse. But
it literally is the best specialist to know when someone's on bomb. You know, you can run away. You can literally hide. If Weeman stays alive, he hides away. He knows when somebody's going for the defuse or when they're trying to shoot to destroy it. The other important thing as well to point out is they took Weeman off those streaks. He was 25 points away from the Trinity Rocket. Big kill came in from Rated. Weeman has only got the Scout to use, but I say only very lightly because the Scout could be such an important
now you can, I mean, it's sort of... If Weeman was your camo player, his hot start would have been terrifying because he would have had it so early. He would get it, an extra time versus the other camo. Hold up 1 second. I just want to see. I wanted to watch this flank develop. It's a little bit slow, but it's finally coming through. And now you're behind several. Tags up and finishes 1. But you're going to be down a man. That was Nile and Quicker. clutch up, not a lot of time on the clock.
Well, Weeman drops as well. Rate is going to pick it up, and the final kill is going to come through. So Red Reserve now starting to get a little bit of a grip on this one.
I think I jinxed Weeman.
You've said you were going to buy his jersey, and now you've gone and jinxed him, and now he's dropped twice.
I can't buy his jersey if they lose this game 5.
Wow. Okay. I mean, this one might go round 11 at this point, Maven.
It's looking that way. This has been a beautiful series here for 2.
I mean, Quicker
EU
though.
squads.
Oh. Wow.
Quicker needs to quickly get a kill. 0-5. Abysmal start here for him is, kind of known as a superstar of this side.
One thing as well, Urban's got a specialist right now and Rated's close to it. So what are those 2 specialists if you can just take a look really quick? Urban's got the FTL, Rated's close to active camo. So there's 2 massive specialists to break through. This one could be big. Let's see if Urban's going to make a play at all with that FTL jump. I wouldn't expect him to, but we're going to see a Scarrow come in from Rated though. See if he can pick a few players up. You can see them literally run away. They sprint so far away. He's not going to pick up a kill though, but at least he gets some intel on that one player there. He will now begin to push out. This is a big kill for Rated. He's jumping up in the air though. That player is going to turn around quicker. It goes 0-6, and it's going to be the active camo that comes in now for Rated. The first initial kill does go in favor. It's swiftly traded though, and another one comes in. Is Weeman once again picking up another kill. Zerg will find one. 2 versus 2 left now in this situation. Camo's not been used yet. Rated will find it. Surely the defuse starts to happen now. It's going to be camo used. Not something I expected to see though. The defuse will be given to Rated as well, I would think, for the streaks.
Well, how close? So he still had what? He still had 4 or 5 seconds there. I guess he used the camo just to guarantee the kill, because if he pushes that, if he loses that gunfight, they probably haven't. He has time to get him off the bomb. Obviously, he would have plenty of time to do it. So I don't know. I don't hate the camo use. You always want to save that for key positions. There, you guarantee yourself the round. Could he have done that without camo? Sure, but why risk it, right?
Yeah.
Get the round win.
Urban uses FTL as well, by the way, I think.
Yes, he did. So what do you have? No one really on anything. 0 and Zerg starting to build.
Wow. I mean, at this point in time, you know, 3 versus 4, and Quickest drops again, first blooded as well. That's not the thing you want to be seeing. Unfortunately, Quicker drop there. So you've got to think Rated is very, very, very close to these streaks. He's 50 points from it. He gets himself a kill. He will have the bombardment to go with that Trinity rocket. We saw him get the bombardment and the Trinity rocket as well in the hard point. So he's really having turned it up like we expected to see him do. It's all down to Weeman though. He's a clutch man, but can he get a 1v4, Maven?
Weeman can do anything. No.
Well, anything but kill someone.
Yeah, no, that was not a fun gunfight. Joe gets it now, 1 round away. It's that hot start from Weeman. He was carrying the load, and you would think usually, okay, if you're that player, you have to carry the first couple of rounds. You kind of hope the team picks it up, but at this point, Quicker still hasn't got involved. 0-7.
You got to think of the mentality as well.
Oh, we're starting with the goose cam.
Oh, you're going to go it. You're going to see if we will have a new agent joining the agency.
It looks to be that way.
Wow.
0-7 right now. He's got the sub in his hand.
He needs to go big.
Bomb to work with. I just want to see what he opts to do. I mean, he's been playing very, very aggressive. He's worried about the push. Maybe he's worried about Joe flying in. But look at Joe's playing a lot more passive this time. He doesn't have the sub in hand.
Look how slow this round is. Trinity Rocket comes in. Not going to connect with the first player. Those players will get themselves inside buildings, so surely Rated shouldn't find a kill unless he's able to somehow get it through the doorway. Once again, it's not going to happen though. But you've got to look how far up that player's pushed. Joe has managed to get himself in a fantastic position. He could pick himself up a big kill here, and it would be Weeman he would have taken down as well. Not going to happen though. Those players are going to have to back up, and really there's no map control whatsoever for Team 3G here.
Yeah, there really isn't. You haven't been able to get anywhere. Joe's cut off basically the entire bike lane side of the map. Niall did push in and find one on Urban in the window. Let's get back to Quicker, because he's going to be your bomb carrier. And also looking for that first kill. Niall kills another in front. That's 2 in a row for him as he's working on the ace here in the round. And this certainly looks set up to be a round win for Team 3G to extend this one. Had all the lookings of a round 11 early on.
Well, Niall will find 0. Joe, only player left alive with the K-bar, is going to find 1 inside barn, but he's got a lot against him here. 1 versus 3. He's going to go all the way around by the looks of things over towards this right side. No, he's actually going to kill himself. It's a good play. You know, he's not going to give Niall... I mean, Niall's close to camo, I think it is. We can have a look when it comes back. I think he's close to camo. I mean, if Niall picks up the kill, he would have had camo for the next round.
Yeah. No, smart just getting off the map there. Don't allow them to build anything else here. Don't allow them to kind of snowball a little bit and hop back into this. You've got a comfortable lead. Let's take a look. So Niall...
Yeah, so it's...
if I could switch, it won't...
Camo, yes, so it was.
Camo.
So, I mean, well played there. Coming in from Joe. But you can see how the aggressiveness has stopped, and you will expect that. You will expect that really. You know, when Red Reserve are 1 round away from winning this really close series, it will be the reverse sweep. Remember as well, maybe if Red Reserve win this, 3G were 2-0 up, and this is what I was talking about, the Optic do. They get the bomb down immediately off the bat, and then they can back up and watch, but it's going to be Quicker, though. Still yet to pick up a kill. There we go, finally, Quicker on the board. He finds himself a 2-piece, though. No, wait, it's 3! Quicker, where have you come from? You've been sleeping all series, and now he's found himself a 3-piece.
0-3. Quicker goes huge. Still able to maybe make a play. It's going to be Urban. Does he check the bomb down below? He tries to get him on the gun.
Wow,
Do it.
the
Quicker
ace.
with the ace
What?
and the defuse. I'm sorry. We thought you were going to join the agency. He wanted nothing to do with it. What a huge round. How do you even do that? You're pissed. You're frustrated. You've done nothing the entire game, and then you get the ace to push it to a round 10.
I want to know who had Quicker's controller for the first few rounds.
Yeah, right?
Somebody had Quicker's controller.
That was sick.
Well played by him. That's got to be the momentum swing, though. We were talking about how, how's Quicker going to be feeling? He's got to be, surely his head will be dropping, but no, he's managed to spring life out of this one. Surely now they have to bring this back. We have to see if Quicker can go on with this one and bring it back. Zerg's really not having a great game either, but
I'm coming back to you, buddy.
Quicker, what can you do? You're
and look how
75.
big that is. Look how close it gets him to reactive in one round.
Yeah.
4 kills plus the defuse. You might end up with a round 11 or maybe a late round
Rated
10.
still got his bombardment. Oh, was it used? Can you just double check if Rated has a bombardment? It's been used. I don't know if he got it actually.
And look at that. Look, he's 75 off his bombardment. He has the reactive to work with. Going to go ahead and use the Trinity Rocket here. See if he can get the call. Just bringing it in slowly, trying to get some information. Knows he's got one. That was underneath the hall. One in blue as well.
This is a big round. Quicker needs to. I mean, do you use the kinetic armor here to take it round 11?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. It's needed. He goes ahead and pops it. Turns. Reactive, buddy. Able to pop it. Now it's going to be a 2 versus 1. It's just Urban. But let's go with Urban's POV because he does have FTL jump to work with. He saw the shadow on the cross. Does he realize he's got him in this right corner? 8
FTL
seconds
jump.
left. Not enough time to defuse. We're going
Wow,
round 11,
we're going
baby.
to round 11, maybe not. First time casting and we're going to round 11 game 5.
I love it. It's
amazing.
a thing of beauty. So what do we have? Quicker, I don't believe, was able to pick up his bombardment.
Yes,
right?
he
was
was
75 off. He did get it. He did get it. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So that's
Oh,
massive.
that's right. He popped the reactive. Duh, yeah.
I mean, that's massive. I mean, that changes the way that Red Reserve play this round 11. Okay, so I mean, I think it's Red Reserve are on offense. No, they're on defense.
No, Red Reserve,
Red Reserve are on
yes,
offense, right? So it changes the way they play this.
I want to watch this a bit just because you have this bombardment. I want to see how he's going to use this.
Can I just say as well, Urban 14 and 7. Well, fantastic play from him so far. He's got FTL jump to use as well, but this one is going to be very, very slow pace from the start. They're going to give up A control. It's going to be camo popped immediately from Rated. He's only going to be able to find one, if anything. He takes down Zerg, though. It is traded swiftly. Niall will find Joe. We've got a 3 versus 3. Niall is very close to his camo. He's literally a kill from camo.
Oh, the timing right there. Look at the minimap. It was, I believe, Quicker jumped directly past him, and now he decided he wanted to shoot his teammate down. Yeah, he's able to find it, though. It's going to be a 1 versus 2. He has bombardment to work with. Only 20 seconds on the clock. The bomb is down. He's going to have to go huge here. He just has to play aggressive. Not enough time to fool around.
Oh, it looks like it might be over here. I don't think he's going to have enough time. The 2 players are backed away. Looks like Red Reserve are going to take this one. Red Reserve are going to make the full-on reverse sweep. Finishing it out 6-5 in the Search and Destroy. Team 3G are going to be kicking themselves. There's no worse way to lose a game of, well, a best of 5, than going all the way to round 11 and losing it.
And that game 5 was as much of a roller coaster as really that series was. Yeah. I mean, you had the crazy start for Wee Man. They get the 2-0 advantage. Then it was, 5-2 as Red Reserve started to control. You bring it all the way back to around 11, and they're able to clutch up there. That was one hell of a series. That was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, you looked at Wee Man as well. He had such a great start. You thought, you know what the only thing is? If Quicker had managed to just have a better start, while Wee Man was going off, maybe they could have pushed on to take it. We only saw Quicker come alive really in the final rounds, and by that point, Red Reserve were ready to close out the series.
Well, what did Wee Man? So Wee Man ended up going 11 and 7, but he slowed down huge because he had 7 kills through the first 3 rounds.
You've got to take a look at what Urban went.
Urban 16 and 7 is
I mean, if we get
insane.
the scoreboard up for you, if we possibly could go to the gameplay and just show you the scoreboard and break it down. Rated 10 and 7, Urban 16 and 7. I mean, Urban just had a fantastic game. You know, it's what he does best in these clutch moments, and I think it came down to what we were talking about, that experience. You know, this old Orbit roster, but now Red Reserve roster, it's got the experience, and I think it showed in that round 11 there. Fantastic players came in, and congratulations.
And that's a big win for Red Reserve, because again, you have Optic in the group, then you also are going to have a Tier 1, Tier 2 North American team coming to join you in Pulse, which is terrifying. So you feel good about your potential to finish first, second in the group now after you get that victory, but you got to think for it to go that far against 3G, I mean, the outlook isn't great for me if you're looking at Red Reserve and you're a fan about their chances against Optic Gaming.
Definitely. Well,
I enjoyed casting our first
That's
game.
fun.
It was a
It was a
fantastic
blast.
one, and it was awesome. It went all the way to that round 11. 6-5 was the final result. Red Reserve take it 3-2. But I think our analyst
Are you ready? Bryce,
I
you ready
think
to do
our
some
analyst
analysis?
desk want to break it
All right.
down.
Yeah, toss it over.
There is a lot to break down, guys. Let's hand it over to our analyst desk.
All right, thank you very much. Well, I guess you could say it was a red reverse sweep going into that one.
I guess you could, Bryce.
That was the
You could.
worst.
I mean,
You
you
could
can't,
say
that was the
you
worst
can't spell
thing I've ever
reserve
heard.
without reverse. There you go.
There
That
we
was
go.
the worst thing I've ever heard.
I'm okay with it. I hear you all
Whoever
the time,
came
and that's
up with
awful. All right, let's talk about this. 3G look great,
They do, and then they don't.
and then they don't. I think, I'll be honest with you, we come up to that one. I did say, I think if they win the first one, it goes to map 5. I don't ever see them winning uplink. They have an issue with it. I think it's to do with the structure. They play very fast, and they miss out on some of those coordinated pushes. But yeah, I think that we could easily be sitting here talking about Red Reverse losing that.
Reserve.
No, Red Reverse from now on.
We can't do that. We can't, honestly. But on a serious note, I look at 3G now, and that's the 4th time that team has been reverse swept. And it just seems
It's
to...
uplink. It starts uplink every single time.
It's that momentum-changing game mode, which we see they kind of come out a little bit slow on that second hard point as well on retaliation. And then you've got that kind of game behind you where it's like we've lost 2 on the bounce, you're going into map 5. It's too tough. And I actually think they did very, very well to keep it so close. They had Weeman going off, fair play. But the way it ended, I mean, Urban lighting up.
What was Urban? 16-7.
Yeah.
I mean, he single-handedly basically wins that game. And you have what? Quicker start 0-4.
He was 0-7.
0-7. He was.
And then got an ace.
Okay, that's what he was. All right, sorry. I saw he got the 4 kills, and then obviously the fuse as well. In the end, though, just not enough. And when you dig yourself in that much of a hole, you even mentioned, you said, I think you put it this way. Can we quickly talk about how it's always a comeback when it's 5-2? I think you basically said.
Your accent gets worse and worse.
And we were sitting here, we started laughing because
I was laughing at your accent. That was why I was laughing.
Well, we were laughing, 1, because of it was funny the way you put it, but 2, there's a lot of truth to it, and they finally break the 5-2 comeback curse.
They do. Admittedly, that has happened an awful lot. Also, I don't know if you noticed on camera, but obviously, like, I'm in the light. This is basically how the COD spectrum actually works in terms of your customers.
So wait, so
I'm in the light.
The person with the most light is the most knowledgeable, so I'm just in the dark.
No, I'm
He's
just
half and
the
half,
light.
and
Like,
you're
the evil represented. Phil's obviously neutral because he sits on the fence.
He's
and
got
I'm
a
the
little
light. That's how it actually works. Off camera, you're the worst person on the planet.
You don't mean that.
I do. So does Maven. But all right, let's talk about this going forward then. In terms of benchmarking these two teams, I still don't know where to put them. It didn't look like a dominating performance by Red Reserve. But is that just because it's 3G, or are they still working things out?
I think Red, they have a lot of problems. It wouldn't surprise me if they make a team change. I genuinely think that. And I think they need to change something. Whether it's a player, whether it's just, giving someone that leadership role or giving the shot call to someone, they need something to change. 3G, I'm going to stop right now and stop underestimating them. I take that team seriously. I take those 4 individuals a lot more seriously now. And I don't think they're the biggest 4 names in Europe, by no means. We've got Quicker Than You's probably the kind of the prolific player of that squad. But it is now a team where I think these guys have grinded the game. They know how to play the game. They know what they're doing. They're utilizing the thing that they have. And I've got to take this team as a serious top 6 team.
Someone said to me earlier, they said they think 3G are like E United but with less gun skill. They know how to play the game. They can take on top teams, but they just have less gun skill.
People call E United an anomaly because of their communication and how little they talk, but still do so well. I don't know if it's
3G are an anomaly.
You think it's to that extent?
I think these names, if you put them on paper and we had never seen them play, you'd be sitting there going, yeah, they'll probably make top 8.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on the fact that I've got to stop underestimating them. But I think we need to talk a little bit about how much more important that win is for Red Reserve, because they get over kind of you could tell that this team was like a mind block for them as well. Like, how do we not just stomp out this team every time? People put this Red Reserve team in Splice on a higher tier by far than 3G, but 3G just always seemed to play them strong. And even there, though, Red Reserve go down 2-0. We talk about how this team can be tilty at times. They wind up not only coming back, but getting into a round 11, nearly giving up a 5-2 comeback, but then shutting the door. They start up their weekend 1-0 as well. That was key. Last weekend they started out 0-1. It was kind of a sign of things to come. Now 1-0 start, they're in a good spot.
Yeah, they certainly are, and I think I'm excited now to see how both these teams actually end up going through the tournament. All right, well, Game 2 is done here at CWL Paris at ESWC. We'll be right back with Game 3 just after this.